that's a tell, right? He's literally telling on himself. Listen, well, obviously they went through and they navigated it and make sure that nobody who's guilty of anything or whatever else, that's a tell. Okay, I mean, we know it. This is ridiculous. And I just want to remind people of a few things, okay? I just want to remind people of who it is that we're talking about here, okay? So this is, let me see if I have the right clip. Stand by.
Are going to be able to vote for their...
That's Greg Abbott. We'll get to that piece of trash in just a minute. This is Virginia Giuffre's testimony during Ghislaine Maxwell's trial. Ghislaine, 22 years ago, she was speaking directly to her. This is from the transcript from the trial. Ghislaine, 22 years ago in the summer of 2000, you followed me and procured me for Jeffrey Epstein. Just hours later, you and he abused me together for the first time. You opened the door to hell, and then like a wolf in sheep's clothing, you used your femininity to betray me and to betray us. You could have called the authorities and reported you were part of something awful. My life as a young person was just beginning. You robbed me of that. You've caused me pain almost indescribable. I don't sleep. Nightmares wake me up at all hours. I relive the things you forced me to do. That pain will never go away. I will worry every single day and night that you will evade being punished. Ghislaine, you deserve to spend the rest of your life in prison, in a jail cell. You deserve to be trapped in a cage forever, just like you trapped your victims. That's one. I also have sound for you from another one of the victims connected to Ghislaine Maxwell and her horribleness. This is Haley Robson, Voices of Victims.
Extremely upset. I'm angry. I'm disgusted to be denied your innocence, denied your justice, and then to have your healing taken away from you without any consent. It really feels like a part of me is dying inside. Ghislaine Maxwell doesn't deserve any mercy. She doesn't deserve any grace. She deserves nothing. To be clear, Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison for her counts of child exploitation and trafficking. Why would anybody give somebody like her, who is a monster and a liar, a time of day to explain anything? She doesn't know anything, and if she did, she would have already had the opportunity to speak. That opportunity has passed. The fact that there is all this talk about her wanting to come forward, no, absolutely not, is a slap in the face to all of us.
That's Haley Robson, another one of the victims of survivors of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. I would like to call your attention now to the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, a card-carrying, bend-the-knee Christian, a penitent man who kneels before God, who cares about his faith, humanity, morality, and was asked a very, very simple question about whether or not you support a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell.
Let me move on to Ghislaine Maxwell. As you know, Mr. Speaker, the Deputy Attorney General spent 2 days interviewing her. She, of course, has been convicted of grooming, recruiting, abusing young teenage girls along with Jeffrey Epstein. Mr. Speaker, Maxwell's attorney said she answered all questions honestly and truthfully, but do you think that Ghislaine Maxwell can be trusted?
Well, I mean, look, it's a good question. I hope so. I hope that she would want to come clean. We certainly are interested in knowing everything that she knows. And as you'll note, in our House...
That was not the question, Mike.
Republican majority, we're working towards that. Chairman Comer and our Oversight Committee has already issued their own subpoena. They want to bring in Ghislaine Maxwell as well. I hope she's telling the truth.
You hope.
She is convicted. She is serving a 20-year sentence for child sex trafficking, and so her character is in some question. But if she wants to come clean now, that would be a great service to the country, and we'd like to know every single bit of information that she has. I certainly hope she's telling the truth.
Well, listen, this week, President Trump didn't rule out a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell. Of course, that's one of the big questions looming over all of this. So let me put this to you, Mr. Speaker. Would you support a pardon or a commutation for Ghislaine Maxwell, a convicted sex trafficker?
Okay, before I play the rest of this tape, he just acknowledged that she is a horrible human being. He just acknowledged that she is in jail for her crimes. Let me just do this real quick. Flash goal has started. We need 40 hearts. Thank you, guys. He just acknowledged that she's this horrible human being. And then Kristen Welker asks him, will you support a pardon for her?
Well, I mean, obviously that's a decision of the president. He said he had not adequately considered that. I won't get in front of him. That's not my lane. My lane is to help direct and control the House of Representatives and to use every tool within our arsenal to get to the truth. I'm going to say this as clearly and plainly and repeatedly as I can over and over. We are for maximum disclosure.
Really?
We want all transparency.
Really?
I trust the American people. I and the House Republicans believe that they
You trust the American people? The American people want all the fucking goods, dude.
should have all this information to be able to determine what they will. But we have to protect the innocent. And that's the only safeguard here that
Again, they talk about protecting the innocent. Do you ever hear him say the words survivors or the victims? Who are the innocent? Is he concerned about the fucking Johns? Is he concerned about the people who are violating these girls, these children? Is that what he's concerned about? I don't ever hear anybody say that.
we've got to be diligent about, and I'm insistent upon doing so.
Well, I guess my question is, are you open to a pardon or
Once again, asked the question, didn't answer.
commutation? I mean, Mr. Speaker, the victims referred to Maxwell as Epstein's right-hand woman. Here's what one victim who testified under a pseudonym told the court at sentencing, quote, "The many acts that were perpetrated on me by Epstein, including rape, strangulation, and sexual assault, were never consensual and would not have occurred had it not been for the cunning and premeditated role Ghislaine Maxwell played." Is that someone deserving of a pardon or commutation in any circumstance, Mr. Speaker?
That's the question, Mike. So how is he going to answer that question? It's a direct question. Does she deserve a pardon?
If you're asking my opinion, I think 20 years was a pittance. I think she should have a life sentence at least.
Okay.
I mean, think of all these unspeakable crimes, and as you noted earlier, probably 1,000 victims. I mean, you know, this is it's hard to put into words how evil this was, and that she orchestrated it and was a big part of it. And at least under the criminal sanction, I think is an unforgivable thing. So
that's just fucking crazy. That is just absolutely fucking crazy. Speaker of the House, 7 Mountain Mandate Mike, MAGA Mike Johnson. My faith drives me. Donald Trump is here as a servant of God. We are here to serve God. Well, Mr. Speaker, do you think a sexual predator, a trafficker, an abuser of girls who you just admitted should be in jail for life? Do you think they should get a pardon? Well, I think they should be, in jail. That is fucking wild. Donald Trump wished her well. We know of the history, okay? And then as far as the statement that she made, again, back to the story. The headline is Ghislaine Maxwell told DOJ that Trump never did anything concerning around her. Okay. I would just like folks, I'd like to call your attention to the fact that there is still pending charges against Ghislaine Maxwell. The charges of perjury, for example. Ghislaine Maxwell, longtime associate of Epstein, was accused not only of trafficking-related crimes, but also 2 counts of perjury stemming from her 2016 deposition in a civil case brought by Epstein accuser Virginia Giuffre. The perjury charges allege that Maxwell knowingly lied under oath during sworn testimony. According to the indictment, she denied knowing of Epstein's abuse of minors, claimed she was unaware of Epstein having sex with underage girls, and said she never instructed or saw others instruct underage girls to engage in sexual activities. Prosecutors argue that these statements were false, as other evidence and witness testimony contradicted her claims. Although Maxwell was indicted on 2 counts of perjury, those charges were severed from the trafficking trial that led to her 2021 conviction. The perjury charges remain pending and have not yet gone to trial. The reason for severing them was procedural. The perjury offenses were related to civil depositions, while the trafficking trial focused on criminal conduct. This separation is often done to streamline cases and avoid jury confusion. The perjury charges have not been dismissed. The DOJ can still bring her to trial for those charges. Maxwell's legal team has filed various motions to dismiss or delay them. As of today, there is no confirmed date for a trial on the perjury charges, and it's unclear if the DOJ will move forward to seek a resolution. 2 counts of perjury, lying under oath about, again, this is what she lied about. Denied of knowing of Epstein's abuse of minors. Okay. She denied knowing of it. She participated in it. Claimed she was unaware of Epstein having schmex with underage girls. she participated in it and said she never instructed or saw others instruct underage girls to engage in sexual activities. She participated in it. She recruited it. Okay? And again, a pardon would forgive her of all crimes. So potential charges and or sentencing and or convictions regarding perjury, that'd be gone too. So here we are, right? And I told you this was going to happen, right? We talked about this. I told you it was going to happen. The MAGAverse is now going to run with that story. The MAGAverse, this is why MAGA is a fucking cancer. The MAGAverse is going to run with that story. You see, she said that Trump had nothing to do with it. You're going to believe her, the person who's perjured herself, the person who's continually lied, the person who denied knowing of Epstein's abuse, claimed she was unaware of Epstein having sex with underage girls, and said she never instructed or saw others instruct underage girls to engage in acts. You're going to believe her, and you're not going to believe the victims, right? And just as a reminder, I'm going to read this to you again because I do not want this story to disappear. It's too important. This is Virginia Dufresne's testimony at Ghislaine Maxwell's trial, of which she was convicted for these crimes that she's denying. Ghislaine, 22 years ago in the summer of 2000, you followed me and procured me for Epstein. Just hours later, you and he abused me. Okay, so that defeats her first story when she said, I wasn't involved in any of that. Well, you were. Just hours later, you and he abused me together for the first time. You opened the door to hell, and then like a wolf in sheep's clothing, you used your femininity to betray me and us. You could have called the authorities and reported you were part of something awful. My life as a young person was just beginning. You robbed me of that. You could have caused me pain. You've caused me pain that's almost indescribable. I don't sleep. Nightmares wake me at all hours. I relive the things you forced me to do. That pain will never go away. I will worry every single day and night that you will evade jail in a prison cell. You deserve to be trapped in a cage forever, just like you trapped your victims. I can almost guarantee you that there are women in the chat right now who are watching this and are hearing that feel the exact same way. The exact same way. And we are now contemplating pardoning somebody like that. This is a massive fucking cover-up. It's a massive fucking scandal. And people on the fucking right, the 17, 20, however many million of hardcore MAGA simps, taint sniffing fucks, you're going to take Ghislaine Maxwell's word for it over the victims. Over the victims. It's a total cover up. And are you so blind to see it, or do you kind of get off on it? You get off on abusing women? Do you get off on these situations where, oh gosh, there's young girls involved? You get off on that shit? You're pitiful. You're pitiful human beings. You're fucking pitiful. I'm watching some of the comments fly by. You're pitiful. And you know what the worst part to me is that there's so many of you that are walking around thinking, oh, you guys are trying to, you want to protect. I don't want to protect anybody. I don't want to protect anybody. I want every single individual connected to this to be held accountable, to be tried, due process, and thrown under the jail if found guilty. Do you understand? Do you understand what I'm saying? Instead, you guys believe this dude, the diddler on the roof. That's what you believe. You believe him. He can do no wrong in your eyes. What the hell is wrong with you people? You're cheering now? I've already seen it. I've already seen people see. She tested. That's not a testimony. She's lied under oath multiple times. She's facing perjury charges that are still pending, that the Department of Justice, now the Trump DOJ, could try her for. Why haven't they? Why haven't they? Seriously, why haven't they? Why haven't they done that? Are we here to protect victims? You don't care about trafficking because you're eliminating trafficking programs connected to the State Department. You don't care about that. You don't care about the cartel trafficking people at the border. You don't give a shit about any of that. You don't fucking care because you're racists, you're bigots, you're homophobes, you're transphobes, you're traitors, misogynists. Check, 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 check. You don't care. We are talking about crimes against children. We are literally talking about crimes of the worst type against kids. And every single day, we see more and more members, elected members of the Republican Party, who go out and say, I care about kids, trans athletes in sports, got to protect women's sports, got to protect the children from drag queen story hour, and you guys are getting fucking popped for diddling kids. Happens every single day. In fact, there's a website, Republican Sexual Scandals. There's literally a website tracking it every single day, every day. And you guys are going to try to figure out a way to deny the existence of victims and their testimony, every single one of them, and you're going to believe a convicted felon, a felon convicted of crimes against kids, and you're going to take her word? It's unbelievable how despicable you people are. So no, you're not going to get grace from me. You're absolutely fucking not. If you ever came here looking for, I don't know what the hell it is that you're looking for. Okay, who are you? Gloria Timbers. Act like Dems care about kids now is hilarious. Well, Gloria, if it wasn't for the fact that you voted for a kid diddler, you might have an argument. If it wasn't for the fact that you're going to sit here and deny the existence of victims' testimony, right? That's you. That's not us. That's you. That's your champion. That's your fucking hero. Again, this is Haley Robeson. Let's hear her voice again.
I'm extremely upset. I'm angry. I'm disgusted to be denied your innocence, denied your justice, and then to have your healing taken away from you without any consent. It really feels like a part of me is dying inside. Ghislaine Maxwell doesn't deserve any mercy. She doesn't deserve any grace. She deserves nothing. To be clear, Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison for her counts of child exploitation and trafficking. Why would anybody give somebody like her, who is a monster and a liar, a time of day to explain anything? She doesn't know anything, and if she did, she would have already had the opportunity to speak. That opportunity has passed. The fact that there is all this talk about her wanting to come forward, no, absolutely not, is a slap in the face to all of us.
Yeah, exactly. And then Mike fucking Johnson. And Mike fucking Johnson. So as we know, there's been a little bit of movement in the House, which is interesting. So a House panel seeks Epstein records testimony from Clinton's, but not Trump. The intrigue surrounding the Jeffrey Epstein case intensified yesterday as congressional committees subpoenaed government records on the late offender, while also seeking sworn testimony from a former president, his wife, and 8 former top law enforcement officials. For the second time, Attorney General Pam Bondi said that the document she promised to release contained little new information worth knowing. Then why are we bringing people in for testimony? You said, Pam, that there was nothing there worthy of an investigation. No client list. So then why are we bringing in people under, or requesting people come in under subpoena? Why is that, Pam? Why is that? Is it kind of weird, Pam? See, we see through your bullshit. We know what you're doing. You're protecting the diddler in chief. We know that. Meanwhile, the DOJ is considering whether to release transcripts of recent interviews a top official conducted with Maxwell. That would be Todd Blanche, Trump's former attorney. Maxwell is serving a 20-year prison term for conspiring with Epstein to exploit and abuse underage girls sexually. She was moved to a minimum security prison in Texas last week after speaking with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. These developments kept the Epstein affair in focus despite efforts by Trump to put the matter to rest. Trump was once reportedly friends with the disgraced financier. but was not among those subpoenaed by the House Oversight Committee. Interesting. Wonder why. The panel's chairman, Rep. James Comer, said the subpoenas were issued because, quote, it is imperative that Congress conduct oversight of the federal government's enforcement of trafficking, generally and specifically its handling of the investigation of Mr. Epstein and Ms. Maxwell. And the president, the current president, is literally in the center of this. In the center of it. And why are we not talking to him? Okay. The committee's most prominent targets were former President Bill and his wife Hillary. Comer described Epstein as the former president's good friend. Comer described Epstein as the former president's good friend, talking about Clinton, but no acknowledgement the fact that Jeffrey Epstein referred to Donald Trump as his best friend. And Donald Trump said the same thing about Jeffrey Epstein. No acknowledgement from either of the Clintons about that same thing. Interesting, though. And said Clinton attended an intimate dinner with Maxwell in 2014, 3 years after her involvement with Epstein's alleged trafficking had become publicly known. Now, if you know that, James, where did you get that information? Could it have been in the Epstein files that Pam Bondi lied about? Maybe, which is kind of why we want to see it. And for those of you, I've already watched it, so your boy Clinton's in trouble. I'm going to say this again, okay? I'll say it slowly. MAGA. You micro-dicked fucks. We don't give a shit who committed these crimes. We don't fucking care. We're not going to protect anybody. We want everybody involved to be held accountable. So get your hand away from your micro-dick and listen the fuck up. We don't care. We're not trying to protect anybody. We don't care. You got it? Cool. Let's see. By your own admission, Comer wrote to Clinton, you flew on Jeffrey Epstein's private plane 4 separate times in 2002 and 2003. We have that from the flight log. We also have Secret Service members who were in attendance with him because he was a former president. During one of these trips, you were even pictured receiving a massage from one of Mr. Epstein's victims. Again, Pam, if James Comer has this information, why don't you? Why didn't you talk about that? Why didn't you say that there was this information that existed? If that's the case, then you're fucking lying, and we know you're lying, Pam. Okay? Comer said that Clinton had allegedly pressured Vanity Fair magazine not to publish allegations that Epstein engaged in trafficking. The congressman also cited what he called, quote, conflicting reports about whether the former president visited Epstein's private island in the Caribbean. Quote, given your past relationship with Mr. Epstein and Ms. Maxwell, Comer told Clinton, the committee believes that you have information regarding their activities that is relevant to the committee's investigation. Okay. Comer said the committee wants to take a deposition from Hillary because her husband took 4 trips on Epstein's plane on behalf of the Clinton Foundation, their family's charitable organization. In addition, Comer said Epstein's nephew worked for Hillary's 2008 presidential campaign and for the State Department while she was Secretary of State. A spokesman for Comer did not respond to an inquiry from Straight Arrow News about whether the committee will also seek information about Trump's relationship with Epstein. Wow. Clintons have not publicly responded to the subpoenas. The Oversight Committee also issued subpoenas to 6 former attorneys general, Bill Barr, Merrick Garland, Alberto Gonzales, Eric Holder, and Jeff Sessions, and former FBI directors James Comey and Robert Mueller. This goes back to the Bush administration if we're talking about Eric Holder. It goes way the fuck back. All were involved in investigations of Epstein or Maxwell or in litigation filed by some of Epstein's victims over the government's decision to not prosecute him on federal charges in 2007. The subpoenas came hours after Bondi reportedly sent annotated copies of grand jury transcripts to 2 federal judges who will decide whether testimony about Epstein and Maxwell can be unsealed. In a letter accompanying the transcripts, Bondi and U.S. Attorney Jay Clayton of New York said the grand jury testimony contains little new material, which is exactly what they said last week and then lied about it. Okay. The enclosed annotated transcripts show that much of the information provided during the course of the grand jury testimony, with the exception of the identities of certain victims and witnesses, was made publicly available at trial or has otherwise been publicly reported through the public statements of victims and witnesses, Bondi and Clayton wrote together. See, for those of you, I know the normal, regular attendees in our chat are the smartest in chat. I'm not including the MAGA mouth breathers that are in here this morning in that same conversation because they're dumb as a post. This is what we've been trying to tell you. So the cover up on top of the cover up on top of the cover up. Cool. I'm glad we could follow along with that. The disclaimer resembled Bondi's statement in early July that the Justice Department files on the Epstein case contained little that was not already publicly known. She said that she said then that investigators had found no client list of Epstein's associates, even though she said in February that the list was on her desk. Bondi also said in July that no additional documents would be released, stirring dissent among many Trump supporters who believe Epstein was unalived in a New York jail cell to cover up, to cover up what we know about powerful figures who had engaged in trafficking. So I guess where I go with this now, right, is the argument that James Comer, or I should say the information in the subpoena, saying that there's a picture of Bill being massaged by one of Jeffrey Epstein's victims. If that picture exists, how did he get it and Pam Bondi say it didn't exist? This is the problem when you literally base your entire we talked about it yesterday, about how the truth has become hate speech. When you literally base your entire political legacy on, thank you, Kitty, on lies, deceit, misinformation, propaganda, deflect, deny, delay, etc. How then can you square this in your head? Now, why then would you not want Donald Trump to testify as well? I can guarantee you, no one who supports MAGA will come up here today and said, absolutely, he should absolutely be subpoenaed and testify as well. You won't do it because you're cowards. Every single one of you, you're cowards. This is the biggest scandal in U.S. political history. This is Watergate times 1,000 because of what it is. This is not ambiguity around constitutionality. This is not whether or not you can use the Alien Enemies Act. This is not whether or not you can have vague interpretations of the birthright citizenship. This is about crimes against kids. The worst of the worst. MAGA is a cancer. Resistance, meaning hearing from the victims, that's the cure. Holding people within who have power accountable, that's the cure. Reminding people that Ghislaine Maxwell is a fucking predator who has perjury charges pending against her. Perjury charges pending against her. And there are people in Trump's orbit who are going to take her word for it. I don't even know where this goes, to be honest. I'm so tired of just the fact that there's so many people in our country that just don't give a fuck. Just don't fucking care. I was talking to, I forget who I was talking to about this, but I'm so tired of the fact that there's just no humanity left. I mean, it's ridiculous. Military's not 90% Republican. How would you know? They're supposed to be apolitical. Just shut up. Move on. Anyway. Instead, we have the president standing on the roof of the White House talking about putting, missiles up there. That's the attention. He wants to draw your attention like he's some fucking, iconic figure. Mike Pence was recently interviewed on the Takeout with Major Garrett, and he had some strong words regarding this situation.
Trump said that Jeffrey Epstein matter is a hoax. Last week, his Justice Department said there were more than 1,000.
That's right. So he's calling it a hoax and a scam coordinated by the deep state on the left. So then why is James Comer wasting taxpayer dollars to bring in Bill Clinton? If it's a scam, just want to hold him on blast? If it's a scam, why would there be pictures that exist of Bill Clinton receiving a massage from one of Jeffrey Epstein's victims? Seriously, why would that be necessary?
Victims of Jeffrey Epstein. Last summer, Trump said he was open to declassifying all the relevant files and the Epstein client list and that his suicide looks suspicious. How can all those things be true and it be a hoax?
Exactly.
I don't understand where things stand with all this.
I think the time has come for the administration to release all of the files.
Yeah.
Regarding Jeffrey Epstein's
no shit,
investigation
Mike.
And prosecution. It's important that we protect the names of the victims. They should be excluded from any disclosure.
Agreed.
But whether or not...
Notice how Mike Pence said victims and Mike Johnson said innocent and Donald Trump has said innocent. Mike Pence said victims, calling it like it is. The people who, the women, the girls, let me get that straight. The girls, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old girls who are raped by these fucking monsters. Indoctrinated and trained and groomed by Ghislaine Maxwell, the convicted felon predator who's in jail. Mike Pence calls it like it is, victims.
The facts justify charges. I think that anyone who participated or was associated with this despicable man ought to be held up to public scrutiny.
One of the most aggressive investigative reporters in our country, Julie K. Brown, was on my show last night, and she said when the Justice Department last week said 1,000 victims, she said that was a higher number than she was familiar with and indicated to her that there have to be accomplices. Accomplices that some of the victims have named that worked with Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And she said, shouldn't there be some inquiry into whether or not those people should be exposed to criminal prosecution? Well, do you agree with that?
I just think we ought to get the facts to the American people. I mean, I've always believed in transparency.
And when the president says it's all a hoax, what is he talking about?
Well, Jeffrey Epstein's prosecution began during the Bush administration. Continued.
He's blaming it on Democrats.
The Obama years.
It's not a hoax.
I know of no reason why this administration, once the victims' names are protected, should not release all the files on Jeffrey Epstein.
Interesting statement there at the end. I know no reason why this administration wouldn't release everything they have. Mike Pence, calling it like it is. Trailblazer SD 1988. You think this comment is bright, don't you? 26 Alita Express flights, 17 White House visits, and that painting, Bill Clinton. Like we said, friend, we don't give a fuck who's on the fucking list. Why are you trying to make an argument? We don't care. People who truly care about children, people who truly care about victims, people who truly care about people being held accountable for their crimes. We want everyone's names. Why are you up here trying to make an argument about Bill Clinton? We don't give a fuck. None of us. I need a cleanse. Hello.
Hi. Yes. Yes, you do need a cleanse. I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm angry at people who are trying to defend predators.
I feel that, and I'm right there with you, sir. So let's do a little refresh, shall we? Let's reset.
Indeed. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Good. I appreciate you. Good morning, everyone. Y'all know that I'm here to remind you to please support our fabulous hostess with the mostest. He's our sticky syrup sommelier, serving up sizzling stories with smarts and sophistication on each streaming segment. And he's here every day with that fiery feral fist for freedom, bringing you facts over feelings, because facts still matter, and they always will. So if you have the means, let's help Facts meet his gift goal in subwaves. Subscriptions are an easy way to show support. You get access to cool emotes and sub-only events like our weekly raffle giveaway. You can show support directly with the pay apps in the link tree of his bio, which is a great way to avoid the TikTok tariffs. And you can find the Facts HQ and Discord link there as well. If you're just looking for that fun free forum for the Facts family to frolic, then Discord is the place. And if the link in the bio doesn't work, try to copy and paste it into a browser. That usually works. If not, reach out to our moderator and we'll hook you up. When you join, please open a quick ticket. There's a couple questions and it's part of our verification process. If you need assistance with that, you can ask in the unverified lobby and we'll walk you through it. Now, if you haven't already, please click that follow or heart me up at the top of the screen next to Fax's name. You can join the team for the cost of a penny. You can do this every day, and it helps the algorithm to keep us on the FYP. The main thing that we ask of y'all is to interact in the comments as well as tapping your little hearts out. It's always free to tap and share out the live. If you don't have any friends, you can click the copy link. It works the same as a share, and no one will be the wiser. After this live stream, head on over to YouTube and subscribe to Factsstillmatter there as well. You can like and rewatch shows for any information you may have missed. And subscriptions on YouTube are free, just like following your favorite creators here on TikTok. Lastly, be kind, smile at a stranger, and have a fuck your feelings kind of day.
How was the first day of school, by the way?
Well, the kids aren't back yet. We are just doing staff development and training, and I'm about to pop into a vision and hearing certification training. So it's just that kind of stuff. And
Hearts in the chat for educators, for school physicians, nurses, teaching assistants, PAs, whatever it might be, please. Hearts in the chat for all y'all, because I know a lot of you are going back to school right around now. So thank you, Eve, for what you do, and for every educator, person who works in schools, especially public schools across the country. So thank you for what you do.
well, thank you. I appreciate that. I much prefer having the kids than being in staff development training. So I look forward to the first day of the kids' return. They light us up, and they're the reason that we do what we do. So thank you so much for that acknowledgement.
I got you, friend. You have a good day. Be safe out there.
You too.
Thank you, Eve. Okay, so Bill Kristol, who's a prominent author, does a lot of work with the Bulwark. He's been around a long time. He's talking about this in terms of Watergate on steroids. On June 6th of this year, Trump's FBI director, Kash Patel, told Joe Rogan on his show, quote, "We've reviewed all the information and the American public is going to get as much as we can possibly release." 1 month later, in a joint statement from the FBI and DOJ, they announced that nothing would be released except for a raw video, which was later discovered to be edited. We've gone through that exercise. As a story in the New York Times makes it clear, the documents about Epstein's crimes were ready for release 3 months ago. The FBI and DOJ conducted extensive reviews, chose what should be redacted. The files were ready. Don't forget, 1,000 people were recruited by Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino and the FBI to highlight and to go through everything and identify Trump's name. And we know from additional reporting that his name was redacted. Okay, we know that. Then in May, AG Pam Bondi and her deputy Todd Blanche briefed President Trump on the files, telling him his name appeared in them dozens of times. 2 months later, no files would be released. The memo made it seem as if the decisions were arrived at jointly by Bondi and Patel, but we can safely conclude that the DOJ and FBI don't make joint determinations on matters of great interest to the president without consulting him, without taking direction from him. It's the safest bet that Trump made the determination because he knew that no further disclosure would be in his best interest. Epstein is President Trump's cover-up, as purely as Watergate was Nixon's. Blanche traveled to Florida and met in private with Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's confederate. Notably, Blanche did not meet with any of Epstein and Maxwell's victims, survivors, who testified under oath that Maxwell sexually abused them, recruited them, and schooled them in how to give massages and other things to Epstein and dozens of other men. This cover-up could succeed, but perhaps not. J.D. Vance stated recently, "We all know it's going to happen. They're going to dribble little details out for days or weeks in an effort to assassinate the president's character." What JD is saying is that there's more to come, more little details like Trump's birthday note, more little revelations of hushed Oval Office meetings, more little cracks in the Trump stone wall, more and more until perhaps it all comes crashing down. I think that is appropriate. Watergate is nothing, as far as I'm concerned, compared to this. And just as a reminder, we're talking about trafficking. Don't forget, people like Nancy Mason, MTG, and Lauren Boebert and others have made their political careers on going after global corruption and trafficking and the cabal, et cetera, et cetera. The Trump administration gutted an agency focused on fighting against human trafficking. Interesting timing, don't you think? The State Department's Office to Monitor and Combat Trafficking in Persons made major cuts to a team that helped combat labor and trafficking abroad, and coordinated efforts across other agencies like the DOJ, HHS, and the Department of Labor. Sources say that one office had nearly 90 workers at the start of Trump's second term. About a dozen were left due to the voluntary resignation programs. Then half were fired and the other half were demoted. The cuts caught everyone off guard, considering that human trafficking has been a Republican talking point for decades. Secretary of State Marco Rubio made anti-trafficking legislation a key part of his agenda while in the Senate. Pam Bondi also focused on it as Florida's Attorney General. There's a clear shift happening here, and the cuts aren't the only way the Trump administration is protecting perpetrators and hurting survivors. The Office to Monitor and Combat Trafficking in Persons is responsible for producing an annual report to Congress, yet this year's report has been delayed without any explanation. Now with the cuts, the report will likely be delayed even further. This report is known to be a critical asset globally to fight against human trafficking. The mass deportations and ICE presences have also made reporting schmecks and labor trafficking harder. Not only are survivors more afraid to report their perpetrators because of deportation, but new ICE directives have weakened protections for survivors. This also means that survivors are less likely to apply for visas because their information will be in government systems. A new analysis shows that visas for survivors of human trafficking who cooperate with law enforcement are being issued at record low numbers. Spending increased for many areas in the big, beautiful bill, but otherwise, Trump admin has ended almost 70 programs and more than $500 million in grant funding used to combat child labor and human trafficking. Make it make sense, friends. Trump and the Catholic Church recently fought a law that would require clergy members to report child abuse. The probe into the law cited the First Amendment, saying it was anti-Catholic law. There was no other reason to stop reporting child abuse other than to protect predators. Okay? Finally, if you can't empower the office that is literally ending human slavery, what does that say about your larger ambitions about the value proposition of humans in this administration? Said Verena Winder, former chief of staff in the Office of Global Women's Issues at the State Department during the Biden administration. It's not just about the Epstein files. It's a systemic attack on stopping human trafficking and offenders. The administration has cut funds, laid off employees, defunded research, fought legislation, and created more red tape. Somebody want to explain that? If we truly care about the things that you claim to care about, then why would you not be so angry about this? Incidences of abuse and trafficking for undocumented are going unreported now because they are so afraid of being deported. Imagine that. For years, all we did was listen to you fucking mouth breathers talk about how the cartel and the mules and all these innocent girls, that's what these programs were designed to do. So the Trump administration takes power and they cut funding for it. Why? Who are they trying to protect? Who is it that they're trying to protect? Funny, right? Not funny, haha. Funny fucking bullshit. Hey there, how are you?
Good morning. We know who
How's
they're
things
trying
going?
to protect.
Yeah,
Fine.
I know. We sure do. We sure do know how they're trying to protect. That's crazy.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So here, I have a question for you. The gerrymandering situation in Texas.
Yeah.
Like, I love Democrats for what they're doing right now, but are they going to completely relocate to Illinois until 2026? Like, what's the play here?
It's a 2-week special session. So
okay.
Again, the issue, and I've got some sound that I'll play on it, and I'll find it in just a minute. There is no legal means to which Greg Abbott or Ken Paxton or anybody has to arrest these people. They're just using it as sound bites. So there is no method. There's nothing they can do. Texas law enforcement doesn't have the right. There's no crime committed. If anything, it's a civil fine. And even the $500 that they say is now part of the the package to avoid what's happening here. Basically, there's Republicans, of course they did. Republicans passed a law after the Democrats tried something in 2021 when it had to go against gerrymandering districts back then. And it's a $500 a day fine. There's no enforcement mechanism, though. There's no way to enforce it. So it's just noise. That's all it is just noise. And I'm with you. I'm glad that they're doing it.
Yeah, I'm glad too. I just worry about when they actually return to the state. So if they like bypass or stick it out and they finally call for the session to end, what happens when they go back?
Yeah, I don't think anybody is too concerned about it because I think they're calling Greg Abbott's bluff.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, okay. I've got sound from Greg Abbott. It's kind of funny to listen to it since you're here and you brought it up. I think I'll play it because it just, to me, it proves the whole point that they don't care about, they're accepting the fact that they're being called out of their bullshit. And instead of saying, well, let's cool the temperature a little bit, they're just doubling down. So this is Greg Abbott. I apologize if you're watching me from Texas this morning, and I know you don't want to hear the voice of your governor, but it's necessary.
In Texas, we are going to ensure that voters are going to be able to vote for their candidate of choice. For example, I think Donald Trump won in all 5 of these seats that we will be making Republican seats. The same thing should apply in all those other states, Sean, that you mentioned in your monologue where you pointed out the gross gerrymandering in these blue states have rejected Republican candidates for office that should be serving those states, should be serving our country. It's the gerrymandering in the blue states that has distorted the politics in America.
Right. Got it. And then there's another little, you'll really appreciate this one. Hold on. Where is it? Is this the one I want to play? This one's crazy. Where is it? Hang on a second. Everybody keep tapping and sharing. Please give Jess. Tell us about your campaign while I'm looking up for this data.
Yeah, it's going really well. We're going to be filming ads soon, which is exciting. I'm anxious and nervous about it, but I am excited.
Okay. Let me play this real quick.
Next financial cycle ends this month, so go ahead.
Let me play this real quick. So this is Mitch Mitchell, who is a Republican from the state of Texas, and he's just telling us out loud in this his thoughts on this whole thing. Hold on, it's about to play. Technical difficulties. Shocker. It's coming. Here we go. Here it is.
The timing of this. Can you talk to me about this? Why do this in a census off year when you just redistricted in 2021?
Because we can. We have the votes. It's legal for us to do so. It's legal for us to draw the lines based on political performance. We have 3 Hispanic predominated districts in South Texas that we believe that we can carve out for Republican leadership in the United States Congress. It's going to be a good thing for Texas. I don't spend any time thinking about what happens in California, Illinois, or New York. I'm here to protect Texas and ensure that our voices are heard.
Wait, because you can. Why should you, though?
Because it's good for our party, it's good for our state, and we need to ensure that Donald Trump's agenda continues to be enacted throughout the second term. And we as Republicans see this as the difference between Democrats trying to impeach President Trump again during the second half of his final term as president of the United States, or accomplishing the agenda that all the voters in Texas by a significant majority sent him to accomplish.
So you're doing this for President Trump?
We're doing this for Texas. President Trump doesn't call me. I don't think he has my phone number. But what I would submit to you is this is the best thing for Texas and its representation in the United States.
Okay. So there you go.
Holy shit.
I mean, at least they're just saying it right out loud, right? We're just doing this for our party. We don't give a fuck about the voices of Texans. We just want to make sure that we can promote Donald Trump's Christian nationalist agenda. We're going to make sure that we can continue to punish women, marginalized communities, defund public health, defund public education, support corruption. Should I go on?
It's the fact that he straight up just said, we know these areas have become predominantly Hispanic.
Correct.
But we want to make sure Republicans overrule them.
Correct.
That's not even a dog whistle. That's a yelp. That's a scream. That's like a look at me.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. Jesus.
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one before.
I know. I know. And this story, obviously is something that we're going to have to continue to talk about because I'm curious your take on this, Jess. Would you agree that we don't? I would like to see legislation introduced where gerrymandering between the censuses is against the law. That you can't do.
Yes.
Like
100%. I made my video I made moments ago, actually, that I just posted talking about exactly this. Because there is a gerrymandering report card. I was trying to get my green screen to work to put it on my screen, but it wouldn't work. But there's a gerrymandering report card that is done regularly after every 10-year redistricting. And let's be 100, there are blue states that have gerrymandering problems as well for political leaning. However, when you do the entirety of the 50 states, it still is gerrymandered to favor Republicans. Period.
It is.
And so, there is probably upwards of 5 to 10 seats that if were adequately redrawn, there you would see a shift of 5 to 10 seats to Democrats. So my belief is there should be a nonpartisan third independent contractor that comes in and does the nonpartisan redrawing of every 50 states for congressional seats, for state seats. We had that here in Virginia in 2023. That is quite literally how my seat became so incredibly competitive in purple. And in fact, 10 seats that were redrawn in 2023, the margin of wins was anywhere from like as low as 48 and as high as, just over 1,000 vote difference out of, 30 to 35,000 votes cast. That means that we're doing it right. When we see that number of seats that are marginally thin, razor thin margins of wins, that means we're doing it right.
So then on that topic, since now we've seen Gavin Newsom go public, and it seems like they're moving in that direction, Kathy Hochul from New York also go public, J.B. Pritzker from Illinois also go public.
Toe-to-toe, yo.
Would it be your expectation that if they don't follow through on that there should be hell to pay?
Yes.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I mean, I think they've gone public now. They have to do this. There's no putting you can't put the genie back in the bottle at this point. And on that topic, I was curious because I looked up, I wanted to see the impact of gerrymandering. So there's two types. We've talked about this before. There's packing, which is concentrating the opposing party's voters into a few districts to reduce their influence elsewhere. And then there's cracking, spreading the opposing party's voters thinly across many districts so they can't win majorities. Both parties have engaged in gerrymandering when given the opportunity. However, the scale, aggressiveness, and national impact is not equal. Republicans in 2010, in the 2010 redistricting cycle, after the GOP's major midterm wins and through a coordinated effort called Red Map, Redistricting Majority Project, Republicans redrew maps in key swing states, including Wisconsin, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, to maximize their advantage. These gerrymanders were highly effective and helped them retain control even when they lost the statewide popular vote. Democrats have also gerrymandered, especially in states like Illinois, Maryland, and Massachusetts, but their opportunities have been fewer. That's partly because many blue states have adopted exactly what Jess just said, independent or bipartisan redistricting commissions, which reduce partisan manipulation. Studies and court rulings have found that Republican gerrymanders post-2010 have a more profound national effect on the U.S. House control and state legislatures. For example, in Wisconsin's 2018 state assembly election, Democrats won 53% of the popular vote, but only 36% of the seats, a result of an extreme Republican gerrymander. In North Carolina, courts ordered redistricting after finding the Republican-drawn maps were unconstitutional partisan gerrymanders. Democratic voters are often clustered into urban areas, making them easier to pack, while Republican voters are more evenly spread, making cracking more effective. After 2010, Republicans controlled more state legislatures, giving them more chances to gerrymander. More blue-leaning states have adopted reforms like independent commissions, California, Colorado, Michigan, etc., while several red states have resisted the change. Gerrymandering is a partisan problem, but in the last decade, Republicans have used it effectively, more extensively, and more aggressively, largely due to control over more state legislatures. After 2010, with fewer restrictions on partisan redistricting. However, both parties gerrymander when they can, and the most democratic solution is an independent redistricting commission that prioritizes fairness and competitiveness. There you go.
And you need to understand the reason they gained power in these states to make this is quite literally in response to Obama's presidency in 2008. Because we know that this is historically true. Virginia is a great example of this. When a Democratic president wins, you typically see the next year, because we are an off-year, election state like New Jersey. The very next year, we have historically elected the opposing side to the governor's race every time. So this is very true for national.
Right. Vanessa, did you hear what I just said? Dems gerrymandered in Maryland, Illinois, Nevada, New Mexico, Oregon, Mass since 2010. So stop. Did you hear what I just said? Did you literally hear what I just said? Apparently you weren't paying attention. So get the fucking corn cobs out of your ears and listen. But sorry, Jess, go ahead.
No, you're fine. And to your point, my opinion on the kind of tit for tat situation we're seeing from Hochul, from Newsom, I'm down with that until we pass a federal policy that was introduced last year by Amy say her last name? Klobuchar. Yep. Yeah, until she introduced a bill last year to exactly address this issue. It got read twice and then sent to the Judicial Committee to die. So until we pass a formal law at the federal level that requires every 50 state to put in place independent redrawers, mappers, then no, I say go tit for tat and make sure that we are meeting them where they are, because we need to be equally. I'm tired of them having the upper hand because they're gonna go low, go toe to toe, baby.
I totally agree. I totally agree. Like I'll do it right now. And I was looking at this yesterday, and I was talking about it yesterday. They said on if there were no like for example, if Texas didn't gerrymander and no states made any changes to the current map, the very strong likelihood is that the Democrats will have between a 7 and 10 seat majority. Now they're saying that if this does happen and California does their gerrymander and New York carves out a few more seats and Illinois carves out a few more seats, although they don't have as many options, that majority could go to 15 to 20 seats. That's before the impact of what the big beautiful bill is doing to people, because the independent voters, and you know very well how important independent voters are, independent voters are leaving Trump in droves. He's got like a 31% approval rating among independents. So then again, prognosticators are saying there a possibility. Don't quote me on this because we know the winds can shift. 25 to 30 seat majority in the House potentially. That's what we're talking about.
Which means veto power, baby.
Maybe
well, not quite. We could get close. Yeah,
but close. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. But I mean, this is just it in the game. I've got some more sound to play from some Republicans that are trying to spin this and blame it on Democrats. It's just fucking wild to me. But anyway.
But it's because of the messaging they hear. I mean, look at that unnecessary conversation family, which I watch. And they're a prime example of the fact that all they watch is Newsmax. And that's all they consume. And they have no outside concept of what is actually happening. I mean, also, Bob is just a raging racist, but.
Oh yeah, Bob is a raging. I mean, is it Elaine? What's her name? Is it Elaine? I forget her name.
Mary Lou.
Mary Lou, that's right. She's almost worse though. She's almost worse because you
hear
her make a point.
I feel like Chad getting to her a little bit. Chad and Haley. I feel like they're getting to her a little bit, especially the last couple of weeks having her by herself without.
I agree. Like when Bob's not there, because she'll say something and then she'll go right back to the script. Like, Mom, you just literally said you're not okay with that, and now you are all of a sudden. So she's a bit of a flip flopper, but aren't they all? Last little plug for your campaign, my friend.
Yeah. Obviously, if you're in the Virginia area, particularly the 71st district, sign up to volunteer and help out, knock some doors, write some postcards, make some phone calls. Donations are always welcome. Every dollar adds up, and all of my links are in my link tree. So yeah, ready to win November.
Yeah, I got you. I appreciate you for being here. Thanks for jumping in today. It's good to talk to you.
All right, talk to you later.
Bye. See ya. Bye. I agree with Jess. I mean, it's the same statement that I made that, this is something that if that's the dirty politics they're going to play, then let's play. I'm so down with that. And I want to play you some interesting sound, something that she was just talking about. This was legislation that was introduced, and we'll get more into this because there's a lot to talk about here. We're not done talking about the Epstein situation and the corruption there, but I think this is important. Jessica Tarloff, always out there doing the work, just reminding people when the right, especially the panel of the five, attempting to try to blame Democrats for this whole gerrymandering exercise, blah, 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 blah. Well, come to find out, there was actually legislation that was introduced a while back. So let's listen to Jessica break it down for us.
Well, hopefully she won't, but odds are that is what's going to happen once everyone does eventually have to come home, whether that is tomorrow or it's in December, and they can hide out that long. And this isn't about populations coming in and out of blue states. It's about the fact that J.B. Pritzker can afford to do this. And when they went to D.C. a few years ago, they ran out of money. J.B. Pritzker's never running out of money, and he's got a bunch of Hyatt hotels, and they can each have a suite, and they can hang out there for as long as they need to. But the idea that people are watching this happen, or at least people who vote like I do or have similar values, to me, are seeing this just as people running away from their job is ludicrous. What they are seeing is the fact that Donald Trump called out Greg Abbott, and redistricting is supposed to happen once every 10 years. That's when the census happens. He's saying, I want a mid-cycle redistrict because I only have a three-seat majority, and I need a bigger cushion. So get me 5 more seats. So Greg Abbott calls a special session, not about the flooding, not about what happened in Camp Mystic, but so that he can steal seats from Democrats so that Jazzy won't be able to have her seat any longer. It's important to remind people that in 2021, there was a bill, the For the People Act.
Just real quick, one of the maps that were drawn moved Jasmine Crockett out of her district. Literally, like they drew the map so she no longer lived within her district. And guess what? In Texas, one of the rules are you have to live in the district that you represent. So don't tell me it's not fucking racist.
HR 1. And it would have banned all gerrymandering, and every single Democrat voted for it, and every single Republican voted against it. Republicans want it this way. They want to use this to their advantage.
So that part, HR 1, every Democrat voted for it, every Republican voted against it. Hey, Chelsea, how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good. It's so good to see you. What's going on?
You know, just discussing this topic about my, favorite state. You know, messing everything up for everybody else.
What's the buzz on the ground down there about what's going on? I mean, I know you're surrounded by redness. I know it may not be easy in your area, but what's the buzz? Like, are people just like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah. So, obviously, like, I'm from California, so I know how the political landscape is out there, and I'm obviously in Texas now, so I understand like what we're doing here. My thing with the redistricting is I think this is a terrible idea for Texas to do as a mid-cycle. One, because 2018, they also tried to do this same thing and it backfired terribly. They actually lost like 10 seats in the state house. They lost 2 important seats in the U.S. House. It was terrible for them, mostly because when you do something like this, you also spread yourself thin. Hoping that you'll get enough votes from your Republicans.
Cracking.
It's a risk you have to take.
Cracking. Mm-hmm.
So, my thing is, there's a lawsuit that I'm actually intrigued by. It's not by my favorite person. It's out of California, and it's by somebody who's trying to run for the governor. His name is Steve Hilton. He's a commentator for Fox News, and he does.
Do you want to hear the sound?
Yeah. Anyway, he's doing one, and his lawsuit is against not only California's Constitution, but it's against the U.S. Constitution. And his lawsuit says 1 vote, 1 person. And he's stating that mid-cycle redistricting takes away from 1 vote, 1 person. And I think that's a great lawsuit. Because if that does get brought up by the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court does rule that does violate 1 person, 1 vote, then that also applies to every other state, not just the state of California. So I think that is a fair lawsuit that I would like to see go everywhere. I think that also Democrats screwed themselves with these independent committees that we put in a lot of these states that we have.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I mean, I think it's the right thing to do. I think it's the proper thing to do to have independent redistricting commissions. I think that's the right thing to do. That's why when people on the right try to say Democrats do the same thing, no, that's just not true. Yes, there have been examples of Democrats gerrymandering, but not at the scale that we're talking about now. And because of what you're talking about, the majority of blue states who would attempt to even gerrymander do have these independent commissions. So what Gavin Newsom wants to do is like, we'll just ask the voters. So they're going to say, okay, we're going to bring a referendum up. They're going to vote on it. And do you think that we should redraw the maps? And we know how California is going to vote. So it's going to happen. And again, yeah, go ahead.
Which could bypass the Equal Protection Clause, which is the argument in that lawsuit, which is that the voters are not getting their votes heard. But if you hold a special session in which all the voters have a chance to vote on, then it could technically cancel out that argument. But it is an interesting argument to be had. I think Texas Democrats should absolutely stay out of the state of Texas until November.
Agreed.
I do want to talk about the special session that's having right now.
Go for it.
One, I want to talk about the fact that there has not been one bill that has actually been pushed forward to talk about flood relief. So this was a special session that was called for flood relief, and not one bill has actually moved forward to talk about that. There have been over 20 hearings, and only one of them have been about floods, and it wasn't about flood relief. There have been 9 hearings about redistricting. There have been 2 hearings on THC, 2 on property taxes, and 4 hearings on bathroom bills, including one on punishing trans people with fines of $5,000. So this was not a special session about flood victims. And the fact that we're using the death of children and people to justify criticizing Democrats for fleeing the state to protect us from being absolutely like decimated in an election and screwed out of our vote is abhorrent. It's as bad as them using gun violence victims for their narrative. And so
I was reading about the Camp Mystic situation and about how hundreds of homes were destroyed because of the flooding, and obviously the property tax impact on that community, because that community survives on property tax. So the estimates are, a couple of $1 billion in damage. So that group, the people, the elected officials in Kirk County who refused to take money from the Biden administration to address the things that they needed to do in preparation for the next 100-year flood. They wanted the record communists. We're not going to take the communist Marxist money, blah, 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 blah. What are they going to do now? They're going to have to take federal dollars. So talk about hypocrisy.
No, do you want to know what they just did? Their first action was to advocate for an 8% property tax hike. That was their first proposal. They haven't even done anything to help the victims. I'm actually going to put out a video later today. All the victims have spoken out. A bunch of them have spoken out. A bunch of volunteers have spoken out. Some of them were actually threatened with being arrested for giving aid and helping volunteer. My husband actually went down there and did a bunch of volunteer work and gave supplies. I made a bunch of supplies. He went down there with them. A bunch of companies went down there. If anybody knows what HEB is, HEB went down there and did a bunch of stuff. A lot of people did, but they were threatening to arrest people for helping. And they have not actually done anything to help these people down there. And now they're proposing for the first thing that they're doing since reopening is to present a 8% property tax hike in a place that literally has not even received any federal or state help. That's where we're at right now. And you want to talk to me about the fact that you are mad that we're not doing any, you're not even proposing flood relief help right now in the legislature. Greg Abbott could literally sign something himself. He doesn't need the legislator to do anything. He could sign a proposal right now. He doesn't need that.
Exactly. And that's what members of the Republican Party in Texas, in the legislature, are doing. They're trying to say, Democrats, they're running from their responsibility to support flood victims. And you're exactly right. Greg Abbott could sign an executive order right now authorizing funds to be used. Exactly. And why not? Why hasn't he done it?
And so can those city officials.
MAGA voters in Texas. What the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you not holding your elected officials responsible? Why are they so irresponsible when it comes to public safety? Why is it? Why do they not care about their own citizens? Why is that? It's funny. They just don't.
They don't, and they have these excuses for it. Where's Spencer Pratt now? Spencer, are you going to come over here and talk about this shit? Are you going to come over here and make a big deal about that shit?
So this is reported that Ken Paxton to seek judicial orders declaring that absent Texas Dems have vacated their offices. State legislatures have since voted to order the Sergeant of Arms to return the Democrats to the legislature under the authority of an arrest warrant. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton on Tuesday announced that he would seek judicial orders declaring that state Democrats who do not return to the legislature by the state house speaker by the speaker's deadline have vacated their offices. Quote, the people of Texas elected lawmakers, not jet-setting runaways looking for headlines. If you don't show up to work, you get fired. Texas Democrats have fled the state in a bid to deny Republicans a quorum and thereby preventing a redistricting effort expected to favor Republicans. State legislatures have since voted to order the Sergeant at Arms to return the Democrats to the legislature under the authority of an arrest warrant. They have no jurisdiction outside of Texas.
Yeah, so I just want to be really clear. Law enforcement. Yeah.
This is not a arrest warrant for all the people that have been in my comment section or everywhere else. This is not an arrest warrant. They have literally, this is a civil warrant not signed by a judge in any capacity. Correct. This is signed by a legislator. All they can do is like advocate for the Texas Rangers to go out and like find them in Texas and bring them to the state capitol. And like, correct. And like, they could leave correct. From the state capitol and they can't do anything about it. Like they can't do anything. They can't take them to jail. They can't bring them to a judge. They can't hold them. They can't arrest them. They can't detain them. They can't nothing. There's no authority.
The showdown comes as Republicans are expected to add as many as 5 GOP leading districts, as we know. Ohio is also expected to implement some redistricting, and several Democratic states have threatened to do the same in retaliation. When you get members of the Republican Party, I played some sound yesterday, a former member of the Texas GOP has left the party because of shit like this, and then you get voters in Texas, as to which Chelsea's won. This sound is just savage. I love this shit.
Thank you for this opportunity to speak. I want to start out by saying this. He was caught cheating on video on the golf course. He cheated on his taxes. He cheated on his business loans. He cheated on his wives. He cheated on the business contractors that he stiffed through 40 years of business. And he tried to cheat in the 2020 election. Now he's trying to cheat and win this 2026 midterm election because he knows he can't win. He has ordered Governor Greg Abbott to obey his command and cheat on the Texas redistricting scam to gerrymander 5 new, grossly and illegally drawn House districts. We are here because Texas is the first state under assault. If Texas House Republicans bow down to Trump like Abbott did, the other red states will follow. And if they do that, then America will be under assault. To me, House Republicans, in this case, are like a bunch of buzzards on the fence, waiting to swoop down on a dying carcass of democracy and feed on that. America is a democratic republic, and it's being dismantled daily by Donald Trump. Every single House Republican is under assault by Trump and Abbott. Thank you for this opportunity to speak.
So, yeah, it's a really great point. I mean, anybody see the problem is that the hypocrisy has come back to bite them now, because there's nothing they can say. There's not an argument they can say. They can't say that they're doing this because Democrats have done it. They can't say that. They can't say that they're doing this to enfranchise voters. They are doing it to disenfranchise voters. So here we are, right? And then there's a little bit more sound that I wanted to play.
This is Dan Patrick's statement.
Which one?
The one where he said, because it's a red state.
I played some sound earlier. I'm not sure if you were here when Jess was here, but this is interesting. So this is Mr. Trump. By the way, I'm going to play some more sound from this CNBC Squawk Box interview that he did, because this shit is just wild. But here you go.
We should have many more seats in Congress in California. It's all gerrymandered. And we have an opportunity in Texas to pick up 5 seats. We have a really good governor, and we have good people in Texas. And I won Texas. I got the highest vote in the history of Texas, as you probably know. And we are entitled to 5 more seats.
I don't know.
You're not entitled. Did you hear that? We're entitled to 5 more seats. No, you're not entitled. You're not entitled to 5 more seats. You're just not.
Yeah, earlier in there too, he also said something about Massachusetts being a great example. If you hear people talk about how he won like 41% of Massachusetts and he has 0% representatives, just make sure you tell them they actually only won like 35% of Massachusetts, and the reason that he doesn't have any representatives is because District 1 through 7, they didn't even put anybody to oppose the Democrats. So if you're not going to run anybody, you don't get to win any seats. So
yeah, and just as a reminder, Oklahoma and Massachusetts, they hold two unique distinctions. They're the only 2 states that voted 100% for their candidate in every county. Massachusetts all blue, Oklahoma all red.
Yeah.
By the way, on that topic, Massachusetts, the home of the Red Sox and the Celtics, by the way, Chelsea, and the Patriots, I know you know that. Massachusetts, number 1 in education. Oklahoma, number 50. Here's the sound that you just sent me. This is Ken Patrick. This is who is this? This is Dan Patrick.
Dan Patrick.
Okay, here you go.
Come back and do the right thing. Don't run and hide because you've lost touch with the voters. Their problem are not redistricting lines. Their problem, Sean, is they've lost the minds of their voters who are moving towards the Republican Party all over the country. We're a red state. We deserve more representation.
We're a red state. We deserve more representation. That's the soundbite.
Yeah, you don't deserve more representation because you're a red state. We are also voters in the state of Texas. We also matter. 1 vote, 1 person. That's the whole argument here. Dan Patrick is out of touch with this state because let me put this in perspective for people that don't get this. Kamala Harris acquired more votes in the state of Texas than Greg Abbott ever did. I just want that to be put in perspective. And that's all correct. The times that Greg Abbott ran for governor of the state of Texas, Kamala Harris acquired more voters and more votes than he did. So I just want that to be put in perspective of where Texas is. If we're willing to come out and vote for her more than people were willing to come and vote for him, that's where Texas is aligned with. And we are 45% blue. That's where we're at. Exactly so right. You can be a red state, but let me tell you something. The reason that you're redistricting isn't because you're a red state. You're mid-cycling redistricting because you're panicking. If you weren't panicking, you wouldn't be mid-cycling redistricting.
It's correct. If MAGA was if it was as popular as it is, and the influence of Donald Trump on the voters was as powerful as it is, then why would you need to cheat? This is a gentleman, by the way. His name is Brian Harrison. He has an interesting comment. This is more on the same subject.
I want to make sure that elected Republicans in the state of Texas are doing everything we can to make sure that Congress, the United States Congress, in the upcoming midterm elections, does not fall into the hands of the radical extremist Democrat
This is purely a political move. Why not get rid of gerrymandering altogether and actually put the power in the hands of voters to make the republic more efficient?
Well, I actually think we are trying to make the maps more representative.
So the first part again.
I want to make sure that elected Republicans in the state of Texas are doing everything we can to make sure that Congress, the United States Congress, in the upcoming midterm elections, does not fall into the hands of the radical extremists.
The radical extremists, people who want health care, people who don't think we should be taking away SNAP benefits for kids so that children can eat. protecting the rights of marginalized communities, making sure that women have rights to their body, making sure that we're not supporting corporate greed, making sure that we're protecting consumers. That's what's at stake here. Just tell us out loud that you know you're going to fucking lose. Tell us out loud that you don't care, right?
Did you see that picture that was going around with MAGA with that district in Texas, District 35, with that big long district? Let me send it to you real quick. That way you can see it and put it up on the screen. And
this is Texas Rep Jolanda Jones ripping Greg Abbott based on just listen. This is just great because of his threats. They're gonna I just want people to understand this. All he is doing is posturing. There is no legal remedy to enforce a $500 a day fine. They can't arrest people, right? There are still rights in our country because at most it's a civil penalty. At most. It's not criminal. Just because Dan Patrick or Ken Paxton or Greg Abbott says it is, it's not. They are freaking the fuck out for more than one reason, multiple reasons, but in particular, these two that really stick out in my brain. They know they're going to lose control of the House, and Texas is purple, and it's shifting blue. And the more shit like this happens, the better off we are all going to be. For the last, I think it's 30 years, Republicans have run Texas. And look what's happened there. And now they want to do what? Disenfranchise more voters to do what? Punish the voters? This is some interesting sound. You guys will like this.
I'm a lawyer. Part of my practice is criminal defense work. There is no felony in the Texas Penal Code for what he says. So respectfully, he's making up some shit. Okay? He's trying to get sound bites, and he has no legal mechanism. And if he did, subpoenas from Texas don't work in New York. So he gonna come get us how? Subpoenas in Texas don't work in Chicago. He's gonna come get us how? So let me be clear. He's putting up smoke and mirrors. And I'm hopeful that the media doesn't follow that. I will also say this.
Again, this to me, this is what I want. I'll say this again. I want, my expectation is that whether or not Greg Abbott and the Texas legislature follows through with this, I want Gavin Newsom, Kathy Hochul, J.B. Pritzker, and other Democratic states to do it anyway. If you're gonna light this fucking match, then light it.
So I think this is interesting. So the quo warranto that Greg Abbott filed, it's a lawsuit that he filed with the Texas Supreme Court. Which is about the abandonment of one of the representatives who he picked for abandonment. And his argument of abandonment was very interesting to me. Their counter is interesting because what they're saying is that they are actively actually representing their constituents by denying a quorum to block an unfavorable map. They are unlikely to rule that a quorum break warrants removal because a quorum is part of the Texas Constitution based on the fact that in 1870, Texas Republicans did this very same thing. And it was already determined that that was something that was established as a part of how they legislate. So it would be really interesting for him to go ahead and challenge that. As far as the bribery thing, I think that's a stretch for him to say that because they weren't personally taking that money. The money was being donated as a political contribution, which wouldn't be a personal contribution, which means it's not a gift. So his bribery thing is kind of interesting. It's a stretch. And then he would have had to go after Beto for the last time in 2021 when Beto donated money to help support them while they were doing this last time. So I think that'd be kind of interesting. But go ahead and put that thing up if you can.
Okay. What am I showing here?
So this is a Republican thing that people are putting up. So this right here is District 35 in Texas. And if you see a bunch of Republicans putting this up, they're saying this is what Democrats did in gerrymandering. Republicans actually drew this district.
I was going to say Republicans have controlled the legislature, so there's no way
Democrats had no say in this. And the reason that Republicans did this is so that they wouldn't split this into two. This literally goes from San Antonio to Austin. They did not want this to be two different seats so that Democrats couldn't have multiple seats. So they made this just one fucking seat. Like, don't argue that this is favorable to Democrats. This is very painful to have to drive from Austin to San Antonio to deal with all of those constituents. That's not good for Democrats. Don't argue that with me. This has been going around. I've had to argue this like for the last 2 days. People have been like screaming at me, been like, this is what you do. I didn't do this. I promise you. This was done by Republicans in 2021.
Yeah, and just the irony is that, again, that map was literally drawn by Republicans. It wasn't drawn by the Democrats.
I promise you that we have had no control of any aspect of the state of Texas since 1994. I was 1 year old when we lost control of this state. So please do not blame a single Democrat in this state for anything that has happened here.
Exactly. Thanks for jumping in today. It's good to talk to you. Thanks. Appreciate your please stay out of trouble down there, and let's catch up. It's been a while. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
I'll talk to you soon, friend. See you later. All right. Bye. Again, let's just show it again. Okay. So this is what the right is you're going to see this around, and people are going to say, oh, this is what Democrats did. Actually, no, Republicans did that. Republicans drew that map. Austin to San Antonio. Okay. Republicans drew that map. Because they're in charge of the legislature. This is a real Democrat district in Texas. Republicans drew that map. They did it because, to Chelsea's point, they didn't want to have an additional district. So they made this massive, whatever the fuck this is. Right? And just in case you needed a laugh. Cool. Real quick, let me just do a couple of thank yous. Don't forget about our gifting goal today, friends. Don't forget about subscribing. We're working towards our next subscriber level. If we can get there, we need 11 more subscribers. If we can hit that number today, we'll do another giveaway. Thank you, Heather. Appreciate you. Heather says, MAGA defends rapists against adult women. Now they defend rapists against children. MAGA, you are the villains. Yes, I would absolutely agree with that. Thank you so much for your $10, Heather. I appreciate you very much. You're very kind. Let's adjust this then real quick. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Okay, a little bit more sound on this. A little bit more sound in this story. I played a little bit of this yesterday, but this is Steve Hilton. Chelsea was just talking about him, but he's angry, but it's kind of wild.
Everyone across the country needs to understand this. Gavin Newsom is planning to steal 5 Republican House.
No. He's planning on doing exactly what Republicans in Texas are doing.
Seats next year by holding a special election this year to overturn the California Constitution.
No, he's posing a special election asking the voters of California if they would like to redraw the maps.
And illegally grab power.
Not illegally. It's a democracy. The voices of the voter.
And make this state even more gerrymandered in Democrats' favor. Right now, Republicans have 40% of the vote in California, only 17% of the House seats. Gavin Newsom wants another 5. That will give us, for 40% of the vote, only 7% of the House seats in California. Because
everybody say it with me. I'm so sorry. That's too bad.
Gavin Newsom wants to show that he is the guy fighting President Trump, winning the House majority for Democrats so they can impeach President Trump. I'm not going to let that happen.
What are you going to do?
What I will be announcing.
Okay, let's listen to see what he announces.
Next week is a plan to stop Gavin Newsom stealing these seats and being able to impeach President Trump by filing legal actions on all the different arguments that we have. And you'll see that from me very clearly next week.
Okay.
We cannot allow Gavin Newsom to get away with it. And by the way, when I'm governor, I will restore the integrity of our system in California so we have fair representation. That would give us an additional 12 Republican House seats in California. That is what fair representation would look like.
Is that what fair representation would look like? I had no idea. By the way, it's roughly 30%. It's not 40%. It's roughly 30% of California voters are Republican. I don't give a fuck. I really don't fucking care. I want to, if it were me, so the plan from what I've seen, the initial sort of pass at a redrawing of the map is that they're going to carve out or eliminate 6 Republican districts, one more than Texas. So if Texas wants to go to 6, California go to 7, it's this game. 25.22%. I thought it was 30. Anyway, so here we go. The game is on. Now, there was legislation that's been introduced by Republicans in Congress to block redistricting. GOP Representatives Kevin Kiley of California and Mike Lawler of New York have come out against efforts to draw new congressional maps before the 2026 midterms, which has become a central talking point in Washington after Donald Trump urged Texas to do this. Both Republicans represent swing districts and said that they will offer bills to curtail gerrymandering, framing their efforts as a bid to block Democratic-led states from redrawing their maps in response to the Republican effort. Gavin Newsom is trying to subvert the will of the voters and do lasting damage to democracy in California, Kiley said in a Monday statement, according to NBC News. Fortunately, Congress has the ability to protect California voters using its authority under the Elections Clause of the Constitution. This will also stop a damaging redistricting war from breaking out across the country. The Republican push to redraw Texas's maps was initiated after Trump publicly endorsed the plan. Texas lawmakers began a special legislative session to advance the effort, which could bolster GOP chances of maintaining control of the House in the 2026 midterms. We know that they're only doing so they can keep the majority. They don't give a fuck about the voters. They don't care. Kelly's proposed legislation seeks to nullify any new congressional district maps adopted by states before the 2030 census, a move intended to freeze current lines and prevent both Republican and Democratic-led redistricting efforts from escalating ahead of the midterms. So this bill would effectively block Texas's current effort and then preempt similar moves in blue states like California. So the soundbite is the statement. This is the soundbite. Gavin Newsom is trying to subvert the will of the voters and do lasting damage to democracy in California. That's the soundbite. The text of the bill means we want to introduce legislation right now so that nobody can do it, Republicans or Democrats. I support that. I support that. So again, the soundbite, the Fox News, the Newsmax appearance is a lot different than what the legislation says. So we'll be watching that. It's going to be very, very interesting. Okay. So we played some sound the other day from Mike Flood. Mike Flood is a representative from Nebraska who went to a town hall, and it didn't go very well for him. I've got a lot of requests here, so let me bring some folks up. Everybody keep tapping and sharing, please. Silent Storm, how are you today? Silent Storm? Okay, I guess not. You got a lot of background noise. You're more than welcome to request again. Be happy to have that conversation with you. Okay, not so silent. Exactly. Kazi, how are you today? Kazi 1, are you there? I guess.
Oh, shoot, that was an accident. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. All right. Blacklight, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hi there. How are you today?
All right. Hey, I just want to make this real quick because it's going to be something absurd that I'm going to say, but this is what I've been thinking. it was odd to me that Donald Trump would come out and directly ask out in public for Texas to give him 5 more seats. My whole thing is this, and I know this is going to sound a little absurd. I think he's throwing out stuff to keep people from bringing up the Epstein's files. Because as I go through a lot of people's lives, I've noticed they're all talking about now the gerrymandering. And not much talking about the Epstein's file. So I just feel like this is another one of his shiny little objects that he's throwing out, knowing that how the Democrats are going to react, so that they can keep from talking about the Epstein files. And that's all I want to say.
Yeah, that's not absurd. I mean, that's part of the strategy, which is why we're going to cover all of it, which is why we started talking about the Epstein situation at the beginning of the show. We'll talk about it again, but this is important because this is happening right now. But it's not absurd at all. It's a good point.
Okay, I'm not going to hold up a space. I'm going to go ahead and leave. Thank you so much.
You got it, friend. Appreciate you. No, he's right. He's right. It's another fucking distraction, right? It's just another distraction. But we're going to keep focused. I got you. Hey, Jen.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm well. How you doing?
I'm good. Great show this morning.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
I just wanted to remind everybody that it was last year or the year before, the Republicans hid Representative Kay Granger, who was missing for 6 months, no votes, and no Republican had the passion that they have now. When they found out where she was in a nursing home in a dementia unit, and not one Republican came forward and said that she's abandoned her seat.
Exactly.
And that's
exactly
all
right.
I wanted to remind everybody, that the hypocrisy is grotesque.
I've got one more for you, Jen. Republicans want to accuse the Democrats of abandoning their responsibility regarding whether or not they are the voice of the people. So then what about the Republicans in Congress who got sent home 2 days before their break was supposed to start? Are they not avoiding their responsibility to, demand transparency into the administration's argument regarding the Epstein files? Or does that just not fit their argument, Jen?
Well, they want transparency as long as it fits their narrative.
Thank you. Correct. Exactly. I appreciate you, friend. Thanks a lot for being here as always.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye.
All right, bye. Okay, so Mike Flood. Let's just say this. It didn't go very well for Mike Flood when he went back to speak to his constituents in Nebraska. Here's some more sound. This one is going to make you fucking sick. Actually, I hope it makes you angry, but it may make you sick. Okay? I'm going to warn you in advance that this is going to make you angry.
Why did you cut SNAP and healthcare research?
So the question is simple. Why did you vote to cut SNAP and medical research? Okay?
We do not have unlimited money in the United States.
Wow. Again, here we go.
Why did you cut SNAP and healthcare research?
We do not have unlimited money in the United States.
We do not have unlimited money in the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll just remind you of a couple of things. A $450 million 747 was gifted to the president. It's going to cost taxpayers roughly $1 billion to retrofit that. Okay? Roughly. That's nothing. Do you honestly think that the American taxpayer are not going to pay for the $200 million ballroom? But we don't have enough money to do it. It's fucking comical.
Could shape the.
Here's another one. This guy is Indiana Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith. Okay? Micah Beckwith, another elected Republican. This guy is the lieutenant governor of the state of Indiana. And he is appearing before his voters. And this is what he had to say regarding the concept of due process. Buckle up.
Okay. If you'd like to ask a question, you can get in line, and then I can answer your question.
But are you going to make sure all the people coming to Camp Atterbury have had due process?
So due process is in this situation is: are you here legally?
That isn't due
process.
Yes,
it is.
So it says he's getting arrested and charged with a crime and seeing a judge, and these people are not seeing a judge. That's not true.
Wait for it.
They don't have a right to see a judge. So when the Japanese were bombing Pearl Harbor, did we give them due process to actually see a judge?
When the Japanese were bombing Pearl Harbor, did we give them the rights to see a judge?
No, we put them in concentration camps.
They invaded our country.
We put them in concentration camps. Have you heard?
This is crazy. Hey, how many illegals have you brought into your house?
Wow.
What the fuck?
How many? How many of you? How much money have you given to? How much? What have you done?
So let me explain something right now.
What have you done to serve them?
What have I done? Well, let's see. I've worked with many of them.
If you can't be quiet, you're welcome to leave. You're
Wow.
welcome to leave. If you want to ask a question, get in line. If you want to make a comment.
Again, his name is Micah Beckwith, M-I-C-A-H, Beckwith, B-E-C-K-W-I-T-H. He's the lieutenant governor of Indiana. If you live in Indiana, my expectation is, actually, mods, would you guys mind finding the telephone number for Micah Beckwith's office in Indiana? Maybe we'll just check in with Micah and we'll post that in the chat. Yes, he's a pastor as well. Again, I want you to hear the sound again. This is why MAGA is a cancer. Okay, this is not just about Donald Trump. This is about the entire MAGA movement. He wants to try to make the argument that the Japanese who attacked Pearl Harbor, and by the way, the United States' response was to put people in concentration camps, Japanese Americans, during that time, right? That was their plan, okay? This is why MAGA is a cancer. Here's the sound again.
Why are they taking them from
If you'd like to ask a question, you can get in line, and then I can answer your question.
But are you going to make sure all the people coming to Camp Atterbury have had due process?
So due process is in this situation is: are you here legally?
That isn't due process.
Yes, it is.
So it says he's giving.
That is not due process, ladies and gentlemen. A processing, meaning what is your credible fear hearing or whatever that might be, okay? Let's just be very fucking clear about that.
Arrested and charged with a crime and seeing a judge, and these people are not seeing a judge. That's not true.
They don't have a right to see a judge.
They don't have a right to see a judge. That's exactly what they have. The right to see a judge. Due process. It's habeas corpus. It's in the Constitution.
So when the Japanese were bombing Pearl Harbor, did we give them due process?
Wow.
To judge?
Wow.
Yes, we put them in concentration camps.
They invaded our country.
We put them in concentration camps. Have you heard?
This is crazy. Hey, how many illegals have you brought into your house?
How many illegals have you brought into your house? Micah Beckwith, ladies and gentlemen. We will post a telephone number of Micah Beckwith's office in the chat if we can find it. Micah Beckwith, Lieutenant Governor of Indiana. Maybe just pay him a phone call, just maybe a little check-in, just to let him know that you're just curious about his comments, and ask him to explain what due process is, and then pull up the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. Why don't I just read it to you? How about that? Let's just read it. Let's see here. Let me just get where's the text? Stand by. So make sure I get it right. The right to due process. The Fifth Amendment of the Constitution protects key legal rights, including the right to a grand jury indictment, protection against double jeopardy, the right to avoid self-incrimination, often called pleading the fifth, the right to due process, and just compensation for seized property. These safeguards ensure fair treatment in criminal proceedings and limited government overreach. Notable cases like Miranda v. Arizona have reinforced these protections, particularly in requiring law enforcement to inform subjects of their rights. No person, this is the text, no person should be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment of or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia, when in actual service in time of war or public danger. Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or of limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. No person should be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. No person. One of the unique features of there's the number. Thank you, Cal. 317-232-4545. Micah Beckwith. 317-232-4545. Again, the Constitution is beautiful in regards because it clearly delineates between what is a citizen, what's required to become a citizen, and then what rights are granted to you as a citizen, and then a person. Any person. Now, I know that the right wants to try to come up with this idea that these illegals, they don't deserve due process rights. I don't give a fuck what they say, because they're all fucking traitors too. Any person on U.S. soil, any person, let me say it again, person, P-E-R-S-O-N, any person on U.S. soil is protected under the Constitution, Fourth Amendment, illegal search and seizures, Fifth Amendment, rights to due process, etc. We'll pin 317-232-4545. Can somebody pin that? Mods, can you guys pin that number? 317-232-4545. 317-232-4545. Micah Beckwith, Lieutenant Governor. All right. Let me bring up some other, I have got some other requests. I'll try to get to everybody today. Gunny, I see you. Chris, I see you. Hang tight, guys. Nettie, how are you today? Nettie, are you there? Hello, Nettie? Okay, I guess not. It's okay, Nettie, no problem. You requested. Wow, we're getting the band back together. Everybody, please keep tapping and sharing, please. I appreciate y'all very much. Hey, Chris, how you doing, buddy? Chris, there you are. Hey, man. Chris,
can you hear me?
I can now. I got you. I can hear you. You keep cutting out, buddy. You want to request again?
Steve, can you hear me? You want to request
I can again? Now. Okay. Hey, so Chris, sorry, man. You keep cutting out and there's a wicked echo. If you want to request again, I'll bring it right back up, okay? Happy to do it. 317-232-4545. Hey, bud. How are you this morning, my friend?
Well,
wait a second. Hold on.
Hello there.
There you are. Sorry.
Hello there. And by
Hello
the
there.
way,
yes,
the recent Funko bobblehead that I purchased
yes.
of Obi-Wan Kenobi actually
yes.
has a hello there next to his face.
Of course it does.
Hello there.
Of course it does.
Yeah.
Well, because it should. Yes.
Now, can I share something with you?
Please.
Our wife and I are out walking Scout, and I see something on the ground. And as I always do, I'm curious about flyers and stuff. So I pick it up, and it's a $100 bill.
Well, there you go.
Yes. So
that's nice.
So getting up early in the morning and exercising does indeed pay, ladies and gentlemen. And apparently I have enough money, even though the government doesn't.
That's beautiful. What a great thing. Seriously. Actually, yeah, that DG said that was theirs. DG said, that's mine. Give it back.
Come and get it. Take it from my cold hands. So I just want to share something really quick, slightly off topic, but fuck MAGA, fuck the GOP, fuck Christian nationalists. There, I got that out of the way.
Appreciate that. Cool.
Yeah. So as you know, over the last 2 days, I was performing my duties as a armed private security officer, and at an event near LAX, with a bunch of young folks learning about things. And what I find interesting is how the right acts toward children. Now, I won't get into too many details because law enforcement has now gotten involved. But dear people on the right who think you can open your mouth and say anything you want about those of us that are Jews, fuck around and find out. Because what this gentleman found out was our technology is better, not just for my Space Laser Center. Hats off and thanks to George Soros for buying that for me.
Sweet.
But in the fact that we are highly trained and motivated to protect our people. And also, in case you didn't know, Steve, hotels have these things, a modern invention. It's called a camera.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And so we went to the control room, and you know what the control room gives you the power to do? Rewind and track every single step up to and including the person entering their room. You know what also the control room can do?
What?
It can dial 911 and disable that lock so the person is stuck in that room. Yep. So.
Yep.
Suffice it to say, one, that was super cool because I've always wanted to be like in one of those control rooms and look at all the toys they have. It's amazing. The takeaway here is that
I'm going to let you guys drive for a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah. First Amendment rights are guaranteed, but as the gentleman above me knows, your First Amendment rights are not free from consequences. And so if you want to do certain things and act a certain way, do expect that people will hold you accountable. And if you continue to support Christian nationalists and you continue to support this administration, you are indeed culpable, which does make you a racist and your fifis. That's just the way it is, right? Anyway, Gunny, sounds like you're at the airport. What's going on, my friend?
Oh, I'm at work.
Sure.
No, I just wanted to jump up that clip from Micah Beckwith that Steve played. That's people from Evansville Resistance, which I'm a part of here in Evansville. And several of them got kicked out of there for speaking out against him, which they do at least once every week. That's all I wanted to say. So we are fighting the good fight here in Evansville against Micah Beckwith. So he hates when we show up there.
I forgot. That's right. You're a Hoosier. I forgot all about that. That's right, man. Yeah.
Helpful hippie heads up Evansville Resistance. She's been kicked out of, I think, two of his meetings or whatever. But yeah, that's us standing up against him, which we do like on a weekly basis. He's blocked her from all social media too. So anyway,
I love that. I love that. Thanks for fighting the fight on the ground, bro. By the way, if you guys don't follow Gunny, if you don't follow Obi, please follow both these guys. But Gunny's posts when he goes out, when he's got his fuck Trump flag, and the reactions that he gets from people, and just how my favorite part, my friend, is when you just laugh at them while you're mocking them, and they can't fucking handle it. So props to you, bro, for doing the work. I appreciate that.
Hey, do you post your lives to YouTube once they're all done? Because I need to go back and rewatch yesterday's.
Yeah, they're all in there. Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna subscribe.
They're all there.
And watch. Okay, yeah, because I wanted to rewatch yesterday's. All right, Steve, you're doing great stuff, man. Love you, and I'll talk to you later. See you,
buddy. Love you too, man.
Peace out, Gunny.
Gunny, bringing the band back together. Let me bring up Chris. I think he requested again. There he is. Yep. Everybody, please keep tapping and sharing, friends, and don't forget about our gifting goal.
Hey now.
Hey now.
So I got a question in regards to some sound you played earlier.
Okay.
You was saying, I forget who it was. You're saying we are a red state and we need more representation.
Right.
Here's my question.
Yeah.
Top 5 answers on the board. Here's the question. If you're a red state, then won't the red voters in the red state vote red, which means that you would normally and ordinarily get the representation. So why do you need to gerrymander?
It's a really very, very intelligent question asked, Chris. I say the same thing. If Mr. President, if you won with such massive numbers and in a landslide, and you've got the support of the entire country gathered around you, then why would you need to cheat to win?
Who knows? But in regards to this last guy, this knob that you just played before,
I know.
Wow. Pastor, huh?
Right. Pastor. Correct. Yep.
So
I'd be curious. I would be curious about his hard drive. I'm just wondering what might be there. I'm just wondering. I'm not going to cast aspersions. I'm just curious.
Sometimes it's best not to know. You don't want to embarrass the cats and dogs that he probably has.
That's a really good point.
It's a really good point. No, what he's saying, what he said was, well, how many? What was it? What did he ask? Do we give due process to people who bombed Pearl Harbor? It's like, did we arrest any Japanese pilots on December 7th that I'm unaware of?
I think the answer would be no. We did not arrest them.
But what we did do, here's what we did do, and it's interesting. We did arbitrarily and just widespread, wholesale, just round up Japanese Americans, put them in concentration
camps,
and then come back 30 years later and had to apologize and pay them for locking them in concentration camps.
Correct. Exactly. It's
almost as
I know. It's so. You're in New York, right, Chris?
No, I'm in Kentucky.
You're in Kentucky. Oh, that's right. You're in Kentucky. I forgot all about that. So, okay. So I'm just curious. I'm just been asking people about this. This is going to be a new thing. I don't think I've even asked you yet, Obi. But so do you support Democratic, we'll call it retaliation, California, New York, Illinois in particular, wanting to gerrymander based on Republicans doing that? Do you support that?
On the surface, I say yes, but also I look at it because I tend to look at things from different perspectives. So on the surface, it makes sense to do it. On the other hand, it's a double-edged sword in regards to political blowback. Now, you can say political blowback, blah, 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 but if look at all the, if nothing else, Republicans tend to find things, whether or not they're valid, to beat us about the head and shoulders with. And I think gerrymandering in response would just be another one of those things because they'll go back and put the cart before the horse and say, oh, well, that's what the Democrats are doing. Look at that. As if we're not doing it in response. As if we just magically woke up one morning and said, hey, let's gerrymander some shit. We got some time on our hands. So it's just one more thing that can be used to muddy the water, although it could be particularly useful.
I'm with you. I think this is a fight fire with fire. And I've even gone one step further. I don't stand for voter suppression. I don't want people's voices to be silenced. I don't like the political manipulation of maps. That's just my opinion, and we can debate that. In this circumstance, because of what Donald Trump has done specifically by asking Greg Abbott to basically, find him 5 more votes, or just like find me 11,780 votes in Georgia. At this point, I don't give a fuck what Texas does. I still want California and New York and Illinois to gerrymander the fuck out of their districts. And then when you win power in the House, then you introduce legislation to outlaw gerrymandering. That's just I want to be petty. I'm going to be petty as fuck.
But here's that brings up another interesting question I have based upon the sound you played earlier, which is the British gentleman who was apparently running for governor of California, and if Schwarzenegger can do it, or why not? But
Scott Hilton. I'm sure Obi's got some strong opinions on him. We'll get to that in a minute.
But the Piers Morgan wannabe who's running for governor, I guess, he says that Gavin Newsom is holding a special election to steal, against the will of the people, the votes of the 5 seats in California. My question to you is this. If he's holding a special election which gives people the chance to vote, then how is he doing it against the will of the people? Exactly what I said.
That's exactly right. It's exactly right. So Chris, it's not our fault that Obi lives in the communist haven that is California. Given the voters a chance to speak up and say, shit, we don't like Republicans here. Let's get them the fuck out of our politics. What do you think they're going to say?
For me, it's this political schizophrenicism that allows people to ignore the circular arguments. You literally have these people bending or contorting to blow themselves in front of you, and you're saying, well, what a good idea, as opposed to he's blowing himself in front of us.
Yeah, good point. Good point. I'll get the image out of my head, but really, really good point. So Obi, I don't know if I've asked you this question specifically, though. I mean, the cards are on the table. Do you support democratic retaliation in regard to what Texas has done?
1,000%.
Or going to do? Yep. I think most people feel
no
the same
exception.
way.
And if you don't do it, right? If you're a governor and a Democrat and you don't do it, I will donate all of my money to the opposite party's candidate to get you out of office. This is a moral obligation at this point in time, and I want to burn it all the fuck down. If
I won't go that far. I'm not going to donate. Well, I'm not going to donate money to a Republican.
Let me finish. This is why.
Okay.
I want the DNC to be burned to the ground and everyone kicked the fuck out. I want people like Chuck Schumer to be forced into retirement. I want to start to have, and this is going to piss people off, and I don't fucking care. I want term limits and age limits. I'm sorry, but if you're in your 80s, you have no business serving in public office. You just simply don't. Your cognitive awareness is not acute enough to be making decisions. Your stamina, physically and mentally, is not acute enough to be able to do the grind of the office the way it should be done, right? These people should be working 15 hours a day, 6 or 7 days a week, because they're elected officials. This is not supposed to be some kind of fucking club fed, right? People in minimum security prisons are doing more work than congresspersons and senators on a daily basis, and they're not actually even doing any work, right? But they're forced to follow a schedule. They're forced to do things in a particular manner. And I think it's high time that we bring back a representative government, because right now what we have is complete and utter bullshit. Take all money out of politics. Number one. So before we pass a law about gerrymandering, I want to pass a law that removes all dark money from politics.
Citizens United, I agree.
That I think
real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick, Donna. Donna says, no offense, but to anyone, I'm so tired of old white men and I'm an old white lady. Donna, No offense taken. I'm so fucking tired of old white men. So don't worry, you're in a safe space.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I hear I hear what you're saying. I mean, like somebody said this in the chat too while you guys were talking about we've got lots of petty to cash in, and I'm there. I am there with the petty. I won't go so far to give a nickel to any Republican, but sorry, got a phone call. We've got a lot of, I have an expectation that there's going to be follow through. And if they don't follow through, then that just shows you that the Democratic Party is feckless and cowardice. And the right would then be correct about the left. Feckless, cowardice, unwilling to stand up, which is exactly why they're doing this in Texas, because they do not expect the Democrats to do what they're doing. So they're almost surprised by it in a strange way. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also think that's just one last thing. I think Senator Cornyn should be arrested for crimes against the state of Texas. I don't believe a federally elected official has any right to interfere in the state of Texas. I also think the governor should be arrested. Persons have the right to freely travel between states at any time. There's nothing in the Texas Constitution that prevents Texas citizens from freely traveling. So what they're trying to do to the Democrats that left Texas is ultimately illegal and breaks the Constitution in multiple ways. And so if, Unmog66 just said, just stop, you're an embarrassment to the Democratic Party. Hey, Cupcake, I'm not a fucking Democrat.
That didn't go over well for you on Mug, whatever the hell your name is.
Yeah, but anyway, listen, I am just so fucking fed up of Democrats in general, elected ones that pretend to give a shit, right? Ones that didn't vote, people who call themselves on the left that didn't vote. I just have no fucks left to give anymore. Like you all can just go fuck off because you are the reason we are here and it's your fault and you need to own it. I did my part. I cast my ballot. The fact that you didn't and still want to be in this tent. Nope. I want this tent to be 8 by 10. If you can't squeeze in, you can't. And that's it. No more fringes. No more being nice. Right. And I get it. You're the nice empath. I'm the angry fuck you empath. Right. Although I am cuddly, but I'm just so sick and tired of us mamby-pambying around, right? And just not having the fortitude to do what's right and stand up and take a stance. Because if we don't do it now, it's over. Game over. And if you don't believe me, you're not paying attention. That makes you culpable and a part of the problem. Sorry, I'm a little pissed off today.
I don't disagree, buddy. I appreciate you very much. Thanks for jumping in. Go ahead, Chris.
I did my part, and I live in Kentucky, and I know damn well that 9 times out of 10, or at least 7.8 times out of 10, that vote's not going to amount for much down here, but I still cast it. So it's like playing. Sometimes it's like playing the lottery. You lose 100% of the tickets you don't play.
That's exactly right. You know, Michael Jordan missed more game-winning shots than he made. So there you go. You can't win if you don't play. Thank you both, fellas. I appreciate you guys. Yeah. Chris, good to see you again. You've been away for too long. Thanks for coming back. I appreciate you. Friends, in case you don't know, hold on before you leave. In case you don't know, the gentleman we're speaking to is this amazing voice.
TikTok. It is our intention during these live broadcasts to only provide fact-based information to the absolute best of our ability. We strive to never spread misinformation or to platform those that do. Opinions of our guests or commenters are theirs and theirs alone and do not reflect those of the host. Hate speech is not allowed, and we are diligent about policing it. This platform is for educational purposes only. We now return you to our regularly scheduled pandemonium, already in progress.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go. Sending you the love, my brother. Sending you the love.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You have a great one. Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. See you later, man. Take care. That's great. Okay, so I wanted to just kind of. I'm not done yet dragging Republicans. Well, there's not enough hours in the day for that. But some of the other things that have sort of shown up the past couple of days is this interview that Trump did on, since we were just talking about popularity, this interview that he did on Squawk Box on CNBC. And the host of the show was even trying to kind of push him back a little bit to say, yeah, that's not entirely true, Mr. President. So here's a perfect example of that, because he's talking about his poll numbers. This is crazy.
I have the best poll numbers I've ever had.
Among Republicans.
I have poll numbers where I'm 71%. I have the best poll numbers.
Those are among Republicans. You know you've got.
Yeah, it's exactly right. So he's talking about these poll numbers, and we went through the poll number exercise the other day. He's getting hammered. He's dropped 3 points in Republican polling because he was above 90% with Republicans. It's down now down under 90%. He's upside down by 35 points with independents. And he's even losing traction with a few Democrats that have supported him. So he's come up with fucking nonsense numbers, and this guy's trying to call him out.
No. Among Republicans, I'm at 94 and 95%.
No, you don't.
I'm talking about generally. I have the. Let me put it this way.
No, you don't.
There was a gentleman on Harry Emden yesterday on CNN, and he went crazy over how well Trump was doing. Now, you don't put that on because I think CBS is a shade. Actually, CNN's a shade better than NBC. I think NBC is probably the worst.
He's not on CBS. He's on CNBC.
Them all. But if you check CNN tomorrow, watch Harry Emden, and you'll see about the numbers. But that's okay. We have to defend ourselves, Jeff.
But I know, but there are other. They can cite. There's your haters cite polls that have you down in the 30s, Mr. President. And,
yeah, but they're fake polls.
Right. Exactly. Those are fake polls. Right. The polling institutes like Gallup and Ipsos and YouGov and Reuters and all those have your polling averages consistent in the upper 30s. Right. The worst of any president in history at this point in their administration. Only worse than your previous administration, but they're all fake. So this is what we went through yesterday about how the entire game is about a lie. Go after the institutions. Go after the pollsters. Go after the reporters. Go after a person like Erica McIntyre, I think is her name, the BLS secretary, who, by the way, downgraded the Biden administration's jobs report by 818,000 jobs, revised it down 3 weeks after Kamala's announced her candidacy, within 2 months of the election, and Trump wanted to claim that they was doing something to advantage them. If anything, that kind of reporting would advantage the Trump administration or the Trump campaign. So enough. It's fucking crazy. And if you're that popular, then why do you need to fucking cheat? If you're that popular, why do you need to gerrymander districts? If you're that popular, why are Republicans that support you getting dragged mercilessly in town halls across the country? Somebody want to explain that? Speaking of that, I've got a little bit more sound from another town hall that the same town hall that Mike Flood was at. Here you go. This one's crazy because I don't think he asked a question that I never would have asked in this environment, but he did it anyway.
Next slide talks about two big changes to the Medicaid program. One of those changes is that if you are able to work and you are able-bodied, you have to work. If you choose not to work, you do not get free health care.
First of all, that is a fucking lie, but let's get back to the sound.
You do not get free health care.
So people are pissed, okay? This is great.
Okay. So here's a question.
He's going to ask a question, okay?
Do you think that people who are 28 years old that can work and refuse to work should get free health care?
So he just asked the question. Do you think people who are 28 years old who can work, who should work, should get free health care? He just asked this to this audience and then listen to their reaction. Yes, we do.
These are the other important parts of the One Big Beautiful Bill. Next slide, please.
Tax the rich.
No taxes on overtime. We've had this conversation before.
That was fucking beautiful. Well done, Nebraska. You're going to, first of all, this just goes to show you how unbelievably no awareness whatsoever by any elected Republican. Zero awareness. You walk into that environment where tensions are already high and you want to ask that question. What did you think people were going to say? Listen, do you think an able-bodied worker should have health insurance? And everybody's like, yeah, we fucking do. Like, you're surprised by that? Again, I've said this a million times and I'll say it again. I believe every human being on planet Earth is entitled to health care, food, water, and shelter. Now, I know, Obi, I am so radical because I believe that. But can you imagine being so completely having no self-awareness whatsoever to think that people would answer and to agree with you? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me?
I'm gonna guess that this person is a Christian, and if there's one thing I've learned about any elected politician on the right that claims to be a Christian, they've never once read the book that they claim is the guiding roadmap for their life and how to live, and that they should do what Jesus did, right? We know for a fact that they care about two things: money and power. And once they get money, they don't care about any other person on the planet, including their neighbors, right?
Correct.
We also know that they are so incredibly ignorant when it comes to U.S. history because they've been indoctrinated by their private school system that teaches them the version of the greatness of whiteness, right? Manifest destiny, all this other bullshit, the Daughters of the Confederacy, watered down version of U.S. history, that it's not surprising that they're clueless, that they don't have a clue, because even their preachers preach this prosperity gospel, right? Where it's like, if you pray and you tithe enough, God will give you money. Well, that's kind of odd, because I would think if you believed in a God and you worshiped and prayed to that God, that it would be for all people, not just you. But perhaps I missed the part of either the Old Testament or the New Testament where it said, pray for thyself only. I mean, maybe a Christian can come up here and point to that particular verse, but only if you're MAGA, right? I would love for you to explain to me how the prosperity gospel is something Jesus would have said, done, or believe in, right? Keeping in mind that Jesus, 1, was a migrant, 2, was a Jew, and 3, had brown skin, and probably would be arrested by ICE today if he were to show up at Home Depot to get some 2x4s.
Probably. Yeah, I just one more time, I just want to play that sound because I just think it is so fucking savage, and this is the kind of stuff that we need. So once again, this is Mike Flood, representative from Lincoln, Nebraska, going to a town hall, and here you go.
The next slide talks about two big changes to the Medicaid program. One of those changes is that if you are able to work and you are able-bodied, you have to work. If you choose not to work, you do not get free health care. You do not get free health care. Okay. So here's a question. Do you think that people who are 28 years old that can work and refuse to work should get free health care? These are the other important...
I mean, listen, as I've told you guys a million times, right? I am sick and tired of fucking table scraps. I am sick and tired of it. I want progressives or people who are brave enough to go out and campaign and say, I support and demand universal health care. Everybody should have access to health care as a human right. As a human fucking right. I am sick and tired of scraps. We want to expand the ACA. Fuck the ACA. It served a purpose. It helped people get insurance who didn't have it. I currently use the ACA. It's expensive. It's not perfect. It's better than nothing. Okay? I want universal health care. And that's what the crowd in Nebraska is just saying as well. Universal health care. Gunnar Haley, universal health care is the stupidest idea ever. Okay, you and your troll account, you can just go sit in the corner. And then you get elected representatives like Mike Flood, right? Who's out there expecting his voters to answer against that? Give me a break. Waste, fraud, and abuse? Give me a break. We're going to $1 billion to retrofit a 747 that was gifted by the Qatari government. Tens of millions of dollars spent by American taxpayers to support Donald Trump's golfing expeditions. The amount of money and corruption that he's making from his crypto scam, everything else connected to it. And we're supposed to be worried about waste, fraud, and abuse in government. Fuck you. Fuck all y'all. I haven't done my daily. Donald Trump, JD Vance, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, et cetera, Tom Homan. Facts, Steve. I'm here Monday through Friday, every day, 8 a.m. till noon. Fuck you. Have a good day. Sorry, Opie, go ahead.
Guys like Flood are the same types of pieces of shit that are trying to strip medical access and mental health care access to veterans. They don't want people to have access to any type of care. Because for him to say, do you want a 28-year-old that could work being able to have health care? Well, that's what was guaranteed to veterans, and now they're trying to fucking take that away from us. Just because you can't see an injury doesn't mean there isn't an injury, right? And
Exactly.
being able to physically work is not a standard, right? Because there are all sorts of issues that people have with traumatic brain injuries or mental health issues that are veterans because they went overseas 3, 4, or 5 times to fight, right? In 2 bullshit wars that turned out to be completely based on fucking lies, right? To prop up the military industrial complex, to pay for pet projects that Republican senators wanted to have, right? That's how we got the F-35, which, by the way, still doesn't work. That still has maintenance issues. That is still billions of dollars in overruns. But people on the right.
By the way, they fly overhead in Vermont all the time because the Green Mountain Boys have them. So we hear them all the time.
Oh, of course,
they're quite loud.
Yeah,
they're quite loud.
Yes,
yeah.
but these are the type of people that always want to force to indoctrinate children in public schools to have the 10 Commandments. First of all, stop cherry picking the Bible. It's 613. There are 613 commandments from God. All of those commandments come from the Old Testament, by the way. So you don't get to just pick 10. It's 613. If you don't understand that, I suggest reading them. They're really easy to find. But they base their entire lives based on this bubble that they live in. And then they want to talk up to us about our safe space. I've never met a right-leaning person who's a Christian that didn't grow up in a fucking Bible, so isolated, right? Never traveled outside of their state, never traveled outside of the county they grew up in, grew up believing what they believe, right? And then these people get to DC and they get to hang out with other cult members in their political party. But when they go home, this is Nebraska. People need to think about this. There's like a tiny blue dot in Nebraska. Other than that, it's a sea of red, right? And ironically, when they're saying tax the rich, one of the wealthiest men in the world happens to still live in Nebraska. In the same house he's lived in forever, right?
Warren Buffett, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that sound that I just played you, Mr. Trump talking about the polls, he was citing a gentleman by the name of Harry Emden, who is a well-respected pollster. And he tried to make the claim that even Harry Emden's poll on CNN showed that I'm kicking ass. Well, actually, Harry Emden then went on CNN to say, yeah, not so fast, mister.
And you know what? He recognizes, the President of the United States, that we give him a fair shake on CNN, whether it be Newsnight here or CNC News Central from 7 to 10 a.m. I'm usually on in the 8 o'clock hour.
Which is why if we did give you a nickname, Harry, it would be Sweet Cheeks. We appreciate the plug there for the morning show.
Thank you.
Listen, was the president correct about the polling, though?
No, I don't think the president was correct. You know, I give him a fair shake. I don't give him a positive spin. Look, he is not at the highest point he's ever been. Take a look at his net approval rating, where it is right now. It's negative. He's underwater, right? You compare that to where he was at the beginning of this term. He was 6 points above water. Now he's 9 points below water. If we are comparing him to other presidents at this point in their presidencies, he is the second lowest on record compared only to himself, who does worse. If we're comparing him to other second terms, he's certainly in the bottom of the list, not nearly all the way at the bottom. Richard Nixon was at a worse position at this point. But when you're comparing yourself to Richard Nixon and you're saying that you're doing better than Richard Nixon in your second term, that's not exactly a good position to be in.
Yeah, so there you go. So let's just chop that down. All right, I want to move on to a couple of other topics. Do you have anything else you wanted to say, bud? You want to hang? You want to go?
No, you can go ahead and drop me. I got to take our daughter here in a little bit to her second day of work at her new job.
Excellent. Tell her I wish her well, and then fill me in later, will you, on what we're talking about?
I need to call you about a couple of things. So capitalism exists for Steve and I too.
Indeed. I love you, buddy. Talk to you later.
Love you, man.
All right.
Peace out.
Peace. Okay. So
a precedent shifting.
One of the things that I think we have to continue to remind ourselves is that the president of the United States is a fucking moron. We know that. But I want to call your attention to something that he said again in this Squawk Box interview that was just mind-boggling. This one first. This one's crazy. So Squawk Box is a show that's on CNBC. I occasionally will watch some of the highlights just because some of the people that are on that show, some of the hosts and the talking heads are not full-blown sycophantic Trump followers. Some of them will actually challenge some of the information. And this is an example.
Watch these guys talking about, well, with Trump, prices are up. No, prices are down since I came in. Down. All prices just about, except for the price of stock.
Prices are not down. They're just not. Price of beef, the highest it's been in 25 years. Everything's up. Inflation's up. Gas prices up, etc.
The price of stock is way up, okay? But prices are down. And if you look at energy, I'll give you an example.
Inflation is moderate. Pushing back. Inflation's moderate. 2.7%. It's up, okay?
Joe, look at energy.
Some of them, but
Energy is way down. Energy is down to $2.20 a barrel, a gallon now for a car.
Energy?
It's down to a level. You're down, I guess, around $65 a barrel, but it's going down. There's tremendous energy. And if you notice, OPEC and OPEC Plus, they're drilling more. They want to drill more because I think they want me happy. Because if energy goes down low enough, Putin's going to stop killing people. That'll be nice,
cool.
Even though they're his own people that are dying, him and Ukraine. But Putin will stop killing people if you get energy down another $10 a barrel. He's going to have no choice because his economy stinks.
So there you go. Gas prices, according to EIA, at the end of July, $3.27 a gallon national average. So what the fuck is he talking about? That's one piece of sound. Here's something else.
They don't get a bad back, sir, because if they get
remember how we talk about how Donald Trump is a racist? We all know it. But the right will never accept that. This sound right here is just out of control. Here you go. Same interview.
But Mr. President, I just want to hear you clearly. You're saying the people who have been here for years and who have been even paying taxes, you're going to look at them very differently and maybe they belong here in the workforce?
I want to work with them. And in some cases, we're sending them back to their country with a pass back in legally. And we're doing things that are very difficult to do and very complex, but it works really well. We're sending them back, and then they're schooling, they're learning, they're coming in,
They're schooling, they're learning, already making a claim that they're not very smart. Okay.
coming in legally. We have a lot of that going on, but we're taking care of our farmers. We can't let our farmers not have anybody. These are these people that you can't replace them very easily. People that live in the inner city are not doing that work.
People who live in the inner city are not doing the farm work. People who live in the inner city, okay,
just not doing that work. And they've tried. We've tried. Everybody tried. They don't do it. These people do it naturally.
These people do it naturally. Okay.
Naturally.
Naturally.
I said, what happens if they get it to a farmer the other day? What happens if they get a bad back? He said, they don't get a bad back, sir, because if they get a bad back, they die. I said, that's interesting, isn't it? These are very, in many ways, they're very, very special people. Okay, go ahead.
So the dog whistle, you heard, the inner city, right? That was nice. Immigrants, farm workers, they do this naturally. And I want to remind you guys of some additional sound as it relates to that particular topic. I don't know if you remember this, but during his press conference at Alligator Alcatraz, he was talking about farm workers. Now the sound is a little bit difficult to hear, but I can translate for you. So this was a wide-ranging interview of people he was there with this press moment with Kristi Noem and Ron DeSantis and Tom Homan and other people at Alligator Alcatraz. This is why.
The idea of finding some way to get farm workforce and service sector workforce. And I think you've discussed somehow a program of people leaving on a sponsorship and coming right back. Can you give us a little more detail about that and why, in the view of some hardliners, it's not
take care of our farmers and hotel workers and various other people that we're working on it right now. Ron's going to be involved and you're involved. So we have a lot of cases where ICE will go into a farm. These are guys working there for 10, 15 years. The farmers know. Let's go farmer responsibility or owner responsibility.
Farmer responsibility or owner responsibility of the migrant workers that he's going to allow to come back into the country. Let's call it what it is. That is indentured servitude. That is modern day fucking slavery. Exactly, Charlie. There is no other way around it. No other way around it. That is exactly, I know it's hard to hear because of the sound in the Alligator Alcatraz. I understand that. But he's talking about owner responsibility, farmer responsibility. That's what this plan is. So to back up a second, okay? When you are talking about deporting people at the tune of thousands per day, and I've got reporting on this, he wanted 3,000 people a day deported, okay? And we'll get into that in just a second. When you do that, when you're too stupid and you realize that you go out on the record and say that, migrants, undocumented individuals who are basically genetically predisposed to farming, which is the implication that you're making. When you are deporting thousands of people, tens of millions of people who do work in agriculture, who do work in hospitality, who do work in the service industry, manufacturing, etc., and you want to either deport them or put them in places like Alligator Alcatraz. And by the way, there is now reporting that there's going to be more of institutions like this, concentration camps like this, set up around the country. Nebraska is one state that's been identified as potentially doing that, by the way. So what then do you have? You have a slave labor workforce. And that's exactly what he's talking about. So we're going to give farm owners. So let me paint the scenario for you. So you say, for example, you have a farmer who is Indiana. Thank you. Indiana too? Okay. So say, for example, you have a hardcore racist motherfucking farmer, right? Who's got his Trump flag, who's got everything. And by the way, he's been employing under the table undocumented immigrants for years. Now he's been told by the president of the United States, oh, I've got ownership responsibility over them. I've got farm leader ownership property over them. So does that worker have any protections at all? Is that worker told that they have to work 20 hours a day with no breaks? Exactly. If you think it's just going to be immigrants, you're kidding yourself. Exactly right. Exactly. Released from a detention center to go work on a farm. And then go back to the detention center? That is slave fucking labor. There is no other way to describe it other than that. It's indentured servitude. And and our friends on the right won't accept that because they don't want to believe that Donald Trump is a racist. Well, Donald Trump's a fucking racist. And there's no denying it. No denying it. Period. Oh, speaking of Nebraska. Yeah, it's legalized slavery, indentured servitude. Hey, friend, how are you?
I'm doing okay. Oh, hang on a second. Let me swap my headphone to the other ear. Nebraska has been in the news a bit.
Indeed. Indeed. And rightly so.
Yes. People like to underestimate us, but we flipped the mayor's seat in Omaha last month. Not last month. I guess it's August now. So in May.
That's right.
So we had a 12-year incumbent Republican and we flipped it. We haven't heard where exactly they're planning on putting that detention center. Potentially out by Kearney, but we're keeping a very close eye on it because, fuck fascists. And, it will not be quiet. They like to think that it's going to be done without pushback, but Mike Flood had pushback in Columbus when he was there. He had pushback in Seward when he was there. Those were his first two town halls. They were a very bad day for him. And then he came to Lincoln and it was an even worse day for him. So, Bernie Sanders won the primary here in 2016. Mm-hmm. The Democrats here we are not playing when it comes to human rights, when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to all those things.
Good.
So.
Yeah, no, I got that. What's the mood
I
on the street there?
I actually work for the state party.
I know. Yeah, we talked before. What's the mood on the street? I mean, are Democrats and progressives motivated for the midterms?
Very, very. In fact, our CD1 candidate was not planning to announce for a little bit, but that got leaked. And people are just so excited. Eric Moyer is running against Mike Flood, so he's getting ready for that. And yeah, we're just we're pissed off. We're fighting back. I'm finishing up our newspaper for our block captains this fall, and people are, getting ready, organizing their neighborhoods. It is, we have not stopped working since last election. Right after Trump got elected, we were back at it, and pushing back and making sure we're no strangers to a fight.
It's great. It's great. I appreciate you jumping in today. I mean, it's just kind of keep us posted as we get a little bit closer. But it's good to know that, a state that most of us consider just bright red is really got an opportunity here. So thank you for jumping in, Neb. I appreciate you very much for being here today. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Can I give you just a second?
Sure.
More
go for it.
Context.
Yeah.
So
sure.
we have passed. We've raised the minimum wage via ballot measure. We got rid of payday lenders by ballot measure. We gave people sick leave by ballot measure. All of these things happened by ballot measure. So people like to pretend that we are a super red state, but we are really a purple state. But people vote for issues that they believe in, but they vote against those issues when they vote for a party. And so we are working really hard on reaching those people who think that Republicans are the party of the working class, which that is an amazing Mike Flood comment too. He got booed so hard at that one. So
he sure did.
But thank you so much for having me up.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Come back anytime. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. See you later. All right, bye. Just real quick, I just want to play this sound one more time, just as a reminder that Donald Trump not only is a twice impeached, 4-time indicted, sexually abusing, fraudster, convicted felon, name on a list predator, he's also a fucking racist.
But Mr. President, I just want to hear you clearly. You're saying the people who have been here for years and who have been even paying taxes, you're going to look at them very differently, and maybe they belong here in the workforce?
I want to work with them, and in some cases, we're sending them back to their country with a pass back in legally, and we're doing things that are very difficult to do and very complex, but it works really well. We're sending them back, and then they're schooling, they're learning, they're coming in legally. We have a lot of that going on, but we're taking care of our farmers. We can't let our farmers not have anybody, these people, you can't replace them very easily. People that live in the inner city are not doing that work. They're just not doing that work. And they've tried, we've tried, everybody tried. They don't do it. These people do it naturally. I said, what happens if they get it to a farmer the other day? What happens if they get a bad back? He said, they don't get a bad back, sir, because if they get a bad back, they die. I said, that's interesting, isn't it? These are very, in many ways, they're very, very special people. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, all those inner city farms, apparently. Yeah, I didn't realize that they existed. I had no idea. Wow. Hi, Linda. How are you today?
Sorry.
Linda?
Hi. Sorry, I accidentally pushed.
No problem. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. The inner city farms. It's good to know. Good morning, Matt. How are you today?
Hey, what's going on? I've been watching quite a while for now. I just have a quick question. Is what New York is doing with Mandani and Elizabeth Warren out there advocating for him and all this and AOC, are they the new faces of the party, or what's your opinion on that? Because it just seems like there's a big struggle right now of who's in command. For example, like Trump was in command of the Republicans since 2016, basically, and it just seems like the Democrats really couldn't find that strong person to take control for leadership.
Who did you vote for in 2024?
What was that?
Who did you vote for in the last election?
I voted for Trump in the last election.
Okay, so why do you care who the leader of the Democratic Party is?
Because I'm an independent. I'm an independent. I don't really align with. I'm right down the middle, man. I'm all for social. I'm democratically social, but conservative on other things.
You're not, and I can tell you why.
I am. I'm not.
Well, you're not.
Listen, man. I'm a 24-year-old kid. I'm not some crazy.
I understand that. I'm going to give you an example of why, because we hear this argument a lot. Oftentimes, what we hear a lot of conservatives want to say is that they're fiscally conservative and socially liberal. Is that how you would describe yourself?
Yeah, to the best of my ability.
Okay. So the problem with that is because if you were fiscally responsible, if you were fiscally responsible, there'd be no way that you would ever vote for a Republican, because they are the ones that spend more. They are the ones that drive us towards deeper deficits and more debt. So how could you be fiscally conservative and vote for Republicans? Similarly, if you're socially liberal, you claim to be socially liberal, how could you vote for Republicans? Because they're the ones that are cutting social programs.
Well, like I said, for example, the social programs, I believe social programs should be a netting for families. I don't think it should be a ground level where you stand for years and years and years on these programs. That's
who
not
told,
what,
but who
what
told you
they're
that
meant
people, who
for.
told you people, right? But who told you that people did that?
What do you mean? We see it with our own eyes. We see people on.
You can't see. No, Matt, you can't see it with your own eyes, okay? Because you don't know. So this is why I'm asking. So
of course you can.
Let's unpack this. Well, no, you can't. You can't see it with your own eyes. How could you see it with your own eyes? There are 360 million people in our country. How could you see it with your own eyes?
Well, we saw when Elon and Trump were close in the beginning of the administration when they're cutting all these things.
And what did they cut?
And they're cutting SNAP benefits and they're cutting all these.
Okay, but why? But why, Matt?
Like I said, because people are on there for years and years and years and have
how do you know that, Matt? How do you?
Because it's in the numbers. The numbers don't make sense.
Bro, listen. Just listen. I want you to listen to learn as opposed to listen to respond. Okay. First of all, the claim that you're making is that people are on these programs for years. That is absolutely just not true. So if you support making cuts, then why then did the Trump administration in the first 6 months of this year, even after Doge, spend billions of dollars more than the Biden administration did at the same time last year? Can you explain that to me?
It just depends on what, though.
No, it doesn't depend on what. It
of course
depends
it does.
on if you're. Well, hold on a second. You're talking about. Wait, Matt. And again, you're listening to learn. Remember? Don't listen to respond. Listen to learn. If you're concerned about spending, then why then would we be spending $1 billion to retrofit a jet? What's more important, spending $1 billion to retrofit a jet or feeding kids?
I would say feeding kids.
Okay, then why do they cut SNAP benefits?
Like I said, people are on. I mean, the same thing with.
Answer the question,
with
Matt.
healthcare.
Answer the question. Matt, answer the question. Why then did they cut SNAP benefits? Why are they cheering for?
People are scamming it. They scam.
Okay,
and people have been scamming for years and years and
Matt,
years.
How do you know that, Matt?
Because the numbers don't add up.
What numbers, Matt?
The people on SNAP benefit. For how many years you're on there for?
What numbers? What numbers, Matt? What
the money?
Numbers? Because all you're doing right now is just sharing talking points.
I mean, I just came here to ask a simple question, and we got into.
And I'm trying to explain it to you
on food stamps.
I'm trying to explain it to you because you cannot be fiscally conservative and socially liberal. It doesn't work. So what I'm asking you is like, where did you get your news from? Who told you that this was happening?
Where do I get my news from?
Yeah.
Who told you this? Mostly through social media, but I'm not a big, like I said, I'm
social
24.
media is not a new social media is not a news source. Who told you this though? No, I'm asking you. Who told you?
I'm going to answer.
I'm going to ask you the question specifically again. Who told you that there's all this waste in SNAP? Who told you?
I would probably say Doge.
So Doge told you that?
Yeah, the government, the U.S. government.
Okay, so Doge told you, Amber, I just sent you an invite. So Doge told you that there's this waste, fraud, and abuse. Didn't Doge also tell you that you're going to get a rebate check from all the savings? Didn't Doge also tell you? Hold on. They did. Didn't Doge also tell you that we were spending billions of dollars on condoms in Gaza? Didn't they also tell you that?
A couple million, I think it was. $1 million.
Right. So did you believe? No, it was billions of dollars. Did you believe that?
I don't know. It just popped up. And I said, "Oh, that's weird."
Did you believe it? That's the question I'm asking you. Is did you believe it?
Probably not. It's kind of silly for us to do.
Okay, so you didn't believe that, but you believe Doge when they tell you that there's this waste, fraud, and abuse in Medicaid, Medicare, and SNAP. You see what I mean? You got okay. Well, Matt, you're going to believe Doge for certain things to support a particular narrative, but you're not going to believe other things?
Well, yeah, I don't believe do you believe everything CNN says?
I don't watch CNN. I think
I'm just asking. Hypothetically, do you believe everything?
I don't watch CNN.
Where do you get your news
from?
No,
I research it.
Where?
I research. I don't get my news from a particular place. I read.
But where do you mostly get your news?
AP, Reuters, BBC, Al Jazeera, Politico.
Do you believe everything BBC says?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But I'm not the one that's making. But I'm not the one up here making claims that there's all this police fraud,
it
abuse,
was
and
just a
snap.
question.
Okay, you haven't answered to me where you get your news from. So
well, you didn't let me answer.
No, you said you get it from Doge. I'm asking you where you get your news from.
Yeah, first I was going to say
Amber
originally social media. I get my news from different outlets that post on their page. I mean, what outlets? No one watches cable anymore. No one watches Fox News.
Matt, I gave you specific sources. I cited sources. All you have said is social media. So what's the source of the information? Where do you get your news from? Not TikTok. That's just an outlet. Where do you get your news from? What sources? And why are you afraid to talk about it?
No, I'm not. Like I said, social media, I mean, people that post like Fox, people that post like CNN, people that post these things on all platforms. And if something interests me, I'll click on the link and read it. I mean, I'm not watching the news. I'm not watching
I'm not either.
Sean Hannity at 9 o'clock.
So you got your news. So you got your news from Fox. You admitted that you get it from Fox, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think Fox is pretty reliable. CNN's
So you think Fox is reliable, even though they got sued for $750 million for lies and defamation? Do you think that they're reliable?
Okay, same with CBS. I still believe CBS, even though they got sued.
They didn't get sued for that.
They got sued for technically lying. They technically
they didn't.
defrauded Trump and defrauded the American people.
No, they did not. That's
of course
not why
they
got sued.
They put out a fake interview.
No, it was not. It was claims that Trump. No, it was claims that the Trump administration made regarding an interview.
I mean,
and CBS settled.
We've seen both of the tapes. They're two completely different answers.
Okay, you don't know anything about media. Then I'm going to let Amber talk after this. You don't know anything about media. Will you use excerpts from an interview to promote the show? The entire interview aired during the broadcast. You're just wrong. Okay, you're just wrong. The lawsuit filed by Donald Trump was not because of lies. They just didn't like the reporting. CBS settled, which is bullshit, but it wasn't because of lies and disinformation and misinformation. Why did Fox get sued, Matt?
I believe for Tucker Carlson.
Not just for Tucker Carlson, but why did they get sued?
Because Tucker Carlson wouldn't shut up about Dominion voting.
No. Well, not just that. They lied about it. Not just Tucker, but lots of people. They lied about it, Matt. They lied about it. $750 million. Amber, thank you for your patience. Amber's got some. Amber works in this space, Matt, since we are talking about social programs and social safety nets. So I think that's probably why you're requesting.
Yeah,
am I right,
really
Amber?
don't want it to. I just want to know.
I don't care. I don't care what you want to talk about. You're here now. You can.
I know,
you can
but
leave
I just had a simple question.
I don't care. Go ahead, Amber.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, Matt, if you're aware that there are and always have been time limits and lifetime limits for the amount of time a person can receive SNAP benefits.
I am aware.
So you're saying they're staying on these things for years and years and years. That's just not possible.
So how could you be aware of that, Matt, if your claim was that they're just on these things for years and years and years?
It's currently a 3-month limit within a 36-month period. And there are work requirements, always have been. And then there's a lifetime limit. I'd have to look up the specific lifetime limit, but it's certainly not years and years. That's just not possible to live
but that's
that.
what I'm saying. These people are defrauding the system.
What people?
How so?
Yeah, who's defrauding? What people and who's defrauding it, and how?
What you want me to give you a name, Billy Joel? I mean,
well,
I'm not talking about we're not talking about an anecdotal example.
How do you know
Matt.
a
You're making
specific
claims.
household's like circumstances? Is what I'm asking.
Exactly.
I don't, but when you take a look,
then why bring it up
at the spending for all these benefits? They're social nettings. That these aren't programs to stay on for years.
And you can't.
Did you just hear what she said?
Did
you hear what she said?
No, you can't.
When you defraud the system and lie on these applications.
Listen,
I'm sticking a sock in your mouth. I'm sticking a sock in your mouth.
I've done this a million times. I've done it for people in my own family. You have to have they are very strict with these applications, first of all. You have to have a valid, confirmed Social Security number, a valid, confirmed, not expired driver's license. You have to have a confirmed address. you can't get anywhere with these programs. You can't get a call back without those things.
Okay.
So how are they lying on
What's
these
your
applications to get? I'm debunking the fact that you're saying people are defrauding by lying. You can't do it.
Of course you
You
can.
have to show your social security card and have that confirmed by
Yeah,
the
you also have to
Social Security
show bank
Administration.
records. You have to
Yes, all
show
of
bank
that.
record. Yeah, I know.
All that. So Matt, let's.
I mean,
let's
you're
try to think
speaking
of
to
this.
someone whose family
Matt,
used all these
So then why
benefits.
are you saying people are lying?
Because people do lie and take abuse of these systems.
Yeah, like the person that you voted for, 30,000 lies.
Yeah. Okay.
You don't
I
believe
want you
any
to
lies?
explain how, if you know what all the requirements are and how difficult it is to get screened for these programs, how you know that all these people are lying.
Because when you defraud the system and
You're not explaining how they defraud.
You're not explaining exactly. What this is the first question that I asked you, Matt. Okay.
I mean, I
That's
came
the
up here to
reason-
talk about the Democratic Party.
I'm not
and
done
we're
talking.
about food stamps.
Because you brought it up. So I need you to stop
I
talking
didn't bring
for a second.
food stamps up. You brought it up.
Put a sock in your mouth. Put a sock in your mouth. Here's the thing. You made a claim. You made a claim that all these people, we don't know who these people are, that all these people are defrauding the system. You've never given us an example. That's why I asked you where you got your news from. And eventually I pulled it out of you that you get it from Fox. So if you don't...
That's not what I said.
It is. There's 1,000 people in here. They all heard you say the same thing. So what I'm trying to get you to answer is like, how do you know? And first of all, who are these people that are defrauding the system, and how do you know they are defrauding it?
Yeah. Do you know Joe on 21st Street?
So a person?
Yeah. Do you know him?
No. Do you?
I don't. I'm asking. Normally, when you ask a question, you don't have the answer.
No, you don't answer questions with a question. I'm asking you specifically, who are the people that are defrauding the system, and how are they doing it?
So I'll just go back to my original question. Who is the new leader of the Democratic Party?
Matt, this is not how this works, Cupcake. Who are the people, you made the claim, who are the people that are defrauding the system, and what are they doing to defraud it? You made the claim.
So is it going to be AOC or Jasmine Crockett or
who are the people? So you're a coward.
Is Mandani going to take over New York City?
So you're a coward? You're basically what you're saying.
No, I just don't want to talk about food stamps. When I ask
you're a coward because you're a coward because you're a pathetic fucking
Democratic
liar.
Party.
Because you're a coward and a liar. That's all.
Okay,
just
I'm
admit
a coward.
it. Just say it. And a liar.
I'm a coward and I'm a liar. You got it.
Cool. Thanks for playing. Have a good day. Appreciate that. Hi.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Hi.
I hate meeting under these conditions, but I'm glad you're here.
Oh no, it's fine. My husband was just calling me, so I gotta go. But yeah, I don't understand. All you have to do is look up, the federal laws for these programs, the state laws, the guidelines. They're all there. Like, you don't have to go to social media or even a news source to get that information.
Correct.
So,
correct.
Yep.
I love you. Thanks for being here.
I love you too. See you later.
Talk to you later. All right. Bye. It's kind of the point. So, and since you brought it up, I'd like to share this commentary with you. You cannot be fiscally conservative, socially liberal. That is an argument. That's a weak ass argument that moderates like to make. It's impossible. Think about it. Fiscal conservatism would mean reining in spending. Republicans don't do that. Democrats don't really do it either, but Republicans spend like they've got, a platinum card. Okay. Can't have it. And then you cannot be socially liberal and claim to be fiscally conservative, because being socially liberal would mean you'd want to support public education. You'd want to support universal health care. You'd want to prop up the social safety net. You'd want to guarantee increases in wages for the minimum wage, for example. So it's just a nonsense bullshit argument. It's a bullshit argument. And for idiots like our previous guest, not Amber, love Amber, Matt, to not even be able to explain what it is that you're fucking talking about, it destroys the entire debate. So, like, whatever. 3 biggest lies. Larry Mueller, Larry, are you going to come up, or are you just going to sit in the chat and look like an idiot? Can you come up so I can embarrass you in front of 1,000 people, or do you just want to sit in the chat and hide? That's what I thought. it's comical to me that people would just be sitting in this little space, not willing to address the actual issue. It's nuts. Hi, Julie. How are you? Julie?
No,
Julie.
sorry. I didn't mean to. Sorry.
No problem. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Here's the thing, right? For people to think that fraud doesn't exist, that's ridiculous. And for people on the left to claim that there's no incidences of fraud in these programs, of course you guys know that. You're the smartest chat on TikTok. I don't need to convince you. But if we really want to talk about fraud claims, this has been done. The CBO has done this research, okay? Less than 5% fraud within Medicare, Medicaid, okay? And we can include SNAP in there. It's even lower. And the bulk of that fraud comes from paperwork, internal areas, not the recipient side, okay? Like it's done by the providers, the companies, and paperwork, all right? So I'm so sick and fucking tired of people who are recipients of programs designed to help them being labeled as fraudsters, when the people who are the fraudsters are the ones that are ripping them off. Rick Scott, for example, single biggest perpetrator of Medicare fraud in our history, to the tune of millions and millions and millions of dollars. I am so tired of poor people being blamed for everything. I am so tired of people who need assistance. There are people that we know in our communities that we love that had to take advantage of government programs. And Amber's exactly right. There's a time, Brett Favre, another great example. There's a time limit in all these things. I'll have a Crowletariat join me tomorrow. Don't forget, Crow works in this space. If you see Crow in a live, just ask him. It's rigorously tested. Rigorously tested. Every single month, people have to reapply, go through qualifications, any weird things that their benefits might get suspended. It happens all the fucking time. And for idiots, uneducated, mouth-breathing fucking trolls who think they know shit, who are so fucking scared, cowardice, weak, and lazy that they don't want to bother to do the work. They just want to sit in their price of privilege and just diminish people. Just like the conversation I had a few weeks ago. Remember somebody growing up in New York? I forget his name. And I said, well, how does immigration affect you? Well, I can't go to the park and play soccer anymore because there's too many immigrants there. It's like people are fucking starving. Children are starving in our country. Starving. And we want to blame them. And how come you won't talk about $1 billion to retrofit a gift, to retrofit a fucking jet? $1 billion. Tens of millions of dollars spent on a fucking parade in DC that nobody showed up to. Tens of millions of dollars on the taxpayer dime so that Trump can go golfing 1/3 of his presidency so far. But you don't care about that, do you? Billions of dollars in a ballroom that he's not going to fucking pay for. Of course the taxpayers are going to pay for it. Are you fucking kidding me? And people who are starving, kids who can't eat, Republicans want to cut federal funding from school lunch programs, after school care, breakfast. I live in a state that is really got a lot of social extremes. We've got incredibly areas that are impoverished big time. And then we've got very affluent communities. And there's not a lot of there's a lot of people that balance between the two. In my little state, there's programs put into place to guarantee kids can eat. Families in our country struggling, moms and dads desperate to try to feed their kids. Take a deep breath. All they want to do is feed their kids. And some of them depend on school lunch programs, school breakfasts. And you incompetent, lazy, scared, pathetic fucking conservatives want to cut their funding because we got to make sure that we can make sure that Trump gets his plane. Oh, because of all the fraud. You fucking conservative fucks are the biggest stain. Cancer is probably an understatement. Forcing women to give birth, using them as incubators. Exactly. You could cut so what's the defense budget now? It's $1 trillion. Cut it by 10%. $100 billion. 10%. Cut it by 1%. $1 billion. And put it right back into the public education system to make sure kids get fed. But no. We can't do that. We can't do that. You can't do that because you're scared of everything. You are the weakest, most cowardice, feckless, selfish motherfuckers that I've ever come across in my life. I have never met someone on the collective, conservatives, who are the biggest fucking cowards I've ever known. Scared, soft, pathetic, weak, selfish. Every one of you. You don't give a fuck about kids. You don't care about families. You don't care about the poor. You don't care about the military. You don't care about police officers. You don't care about any of that fucking shit. Any of it. You don't care about any of it. Any of it. What's your fucking problem, Jeff? Can't take the truth? Scared, soft, and weak.
I love watching you cry so much, Steve. It is the best part of my day. It's just watching you cry.
Why are you so scared? Why are you so scared of everything, Jeff?
Dude, you are the most pathetic person.
Why are you such a coward, Jeff?
I've ever seen. Like,
why are you such a coward?
Makes my entire day, dude. You fill my mug.
Why are you such a coward,
time
Jeff?
and time again, just constantly.
Don't want to answer the question?
All day long. You just fill my mug, dude. You're so
You don't want to answer the question? Why are you such a coward, Jeff?
Because you're a crybaby. That's why.
You're a coward?
You're a crybaby.
Why are you such a coward?
You're a crybaby. You whine about everything. Wow. Why doesn't everything free? Why don't we all get free? Give me free. I need free.
What? So you support?
You're a whiner.
So
all
Jeff,
you do is
you are happy with cutting benefits for kids? You
never want to do a single thing to help anyone.
Right. You don't want. You're happy letting kids. You happy letting kids starve? And he's gone. He left. Of course. Wild. So wild.
Hi.
Y&J, how are you today?
Hey, I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Fine, thank you.
Good.
What's on your mind?
I agree with everything that you're saying. Like, I definitely feel like this country is in a lot of trouble. You know, we're really our way of government and our way of life is under attack, by people, that, maybe they, for whatever reason, feel that they should be entitled to certain things and they haven't been able to get them. I understand that. But I feel like our biggest problem, not our biggest problem, but as far as anyone on the left or anyone that opposes MAGA and everything, I feel like our biggest problem is the way that we say things. Because one thing I noticed even during the election was that instead of just standing on our arguments and standing on our facts and making sure that our message was put out there, a lot of it was drowned out by a lot of belittling of the other side, or
so you don't think I should be belittling people like Matt, who doesn't give a shit about feeding kids?
Well, I don't think it does any good, because Matt,
I don't care. That's not the question. That's not the question I asked. Yeah. You don't think that people who are literally standing for cutting benefits for children, you don't think that they should be shamed and belittled?
I don't. I feel like the best way.
You don't?
No, I feel like the best way to get your message out is to get the message out. The message is, that children are being hurt, that, our country's job is to protect its people, those types of things. I feel like if I
we should just coddle them, is what you're saying? So we should just coddle them?
I'm not saying coddle. That's not what I'm saying.
Then please make a point, because I'm really confused.
Well, see, I see a difference between coddling someone and actually trying to communicate with someone.
Let's use our last guest, for example. Do you think he had anything credible to say?
I think that by the time he got on the live, he had already been offended by maybe some things.
Offended by what?
Well, I heard words like stupid or something like that.
They are stupid. They are stupid.
I agree with their ideas.
So I shouldn't call it. So I'd be being disingenuous to my audience if I didn't call stupid people stupid.
No.
Do you support?
No.
Do you support?
No.
Do you support cutting? Do you support cutting funding for education programs and for SNAP benefits?
And that's what I would say. I would say,
Right.
I
So
don't.
I did.
Okay, please don't cut me off.
I'll cut you off because I think your argument's bullshit. I'm not going to coddle people like that. I'm not going to coddle people like that.
That's not coddling.
No.
That's
Again,
not coddling.
Y&J, listen. Here's the problem. This is the issue that I have with people. I don't give a flying fuck if somebody who opposes children being fed getting offended by what I say. I don't fucking care. I don't care.
It's kind of
I don't care.
You don't believe in building coalition or having to
coalition with people who align with racists and transphobes and homophobes and bigots.
But in order for them to be able to see that they're aligning with racists, they have to hear you explain how they are racist. But
Y&J, I've been telling them for 4 years. When is enough enough? When are we supposed to stop? When do I need to cut them off?
My point is that, okay, over the 4 years, we may have been telling them that, but first of all, there was no election to really magnify voices, so it's kind of like over the 4 years. There wasn't? No, well, I'm talking about before the election and everything. Basically, what we had the Democrats were all talking, or left was all talking to one another, and the right were all talking to one another. So
who did you vote for? Who did you vote for in the last election?
I voted for Harris.
Okay, so again, this is the question that I want to ask, Y&J.
Uh-huh.
You talk about building coalition, okay? So how far do people on the left who advocate for human rights, who advocate for healthcare, who advocate for clean air, clean water, food for kids, rights for all, how far do we have to lean in to bring people across the aisle who don't give a shit about any of those things?
I feel like those things are important enough to lean in as far as we have to in order to get those people to do.
So you expect me to reach across the table and shake hands with a Nazi?
I would willingly forfeit cursing a Nazi out if it meant that a child got fed. I would do that. I would willingly forfeit.
So do you think that makes a difference? Cool. Okay, great.
Words are words.
Cool.
There's
awesome. So you think me not calling somebody a Nazi who's a Nazi is going to change their mind?
I don't think that. I think if he's a Nazi, it's not.
Isn't that what you just said?
But I think that you're not set by. But I don't think the conversation is being had just between you and the Nazi, though. So like you're on a platform where many other people are listening, right? So there are other people who they're not Nazis. They may have voted for MAGA. But if they hear the actual issues and they hear,
if you sit down for dinner with a Nazi, does that make you complicit?
If I sit down for dinner with a Nazi, that does not make me complicit. Not if I'm sitting down with no, it makes me me. It makes me.
Okay, get the fuck out of here. Don't give a shit. Jesus Christ. I don't have time for that bullshit, and none of us do. I am so fucking tired. I am not going to fucking coddle Nazis. I don't give a fuck if you're offended. This is why I have issues with people on the fucking left. I'm not interested in building a coalition with fucking Nazis. I am not interested in building a coalition with people who are getting offended because I call them a fucking traitor or weak or scared or soft or stupid. I'm done. I'm fucking done. I have no interest in normalizing that bullshit. Absolutely not. Absolutely fucking not. I am done coddling. If you're on the left and you think this is a safe space because you see my backgrounds and you hear me talking about human rights, buckle the fuck up. You need to fucking earn it. I am not interested in coddling people. I don't fucking care. I am not fucking interested. Not at all. I'm so sick and tired of people on the left saying that we are the ones that have to reach out and let them in. Fuck that and fuck you if you think that. I'm so fucking done with that bullshit. Absolutely not. Not gonna fucking happen. Find it someplace else. You're not gonna find it here. If you sit down for dinner with a Nazi, then you're complicit. Period. He left. Unbelievable that people would still think that way. It's crazy. Hi, Coach.
Ben.
How are you?
I am doing good. Have you drank water lately?
Yes, I have. Thank you. Been drinking it all morning. Thank you.
Okay, just make sure you take a drink of water. I agree 100% and so completely with you. I am tired of hand feeding these people the information that they won't look up themselves. I am tired of giving them any leeway to keep discriminating against me and my family, right? The people who, let me take I'm working, so one second, I'm going to take off my gloves so people can see the face to whom they are discussing when they talk about families staying on assistance. My family and I, um, and before anybody starts gifting me gifts, Steve, please, so that he can share with other people who are really in need of it. But, um, I'm out here digging weeds out of somebody's lawn for 40 hours plus a week, doing manual labor and still not making end meet for me and my wife and my 7 kids. These are the faces of the people that you're talking about when, try not to cry because I don't want to, because they don't deserve my tears. But these are the faces of the people. These are the people that when they're talking about cutting benefits, we are the ones. And so fuck the person before me and fuck Matt. Because you know what? My family deserves to have health care. My family deserves to gain a better life and have a chance to get out of this hole that we're in. And I work every goddamn day to do better for my family. And so it just pisses me off when people like Matt come up and they say, I love everybody in the comments. And they say that, we're the ones taking advantage of the system. We're not. Because I will tell you right now, the people who are taking advantage of the system do it in a way that we don't see. We are just the low-hanging fruit. My family is used to being targeted because we're queer, because we're poor, because we're everything that these people don't want to see out in existence. So they can all fuck off. And thank you. Thank you for giving it to them hard, because I'll tell you right now, hey-yo, it's not even Friday Fact After Dark. Thank you, but it just is, it's so refreshing to get on and hear someone standing up for people like me who don't always have a voice. For people like my 4 kids who deserve to be able to go to school and eat lunch, who deserve to be able to have a mom who is at home at the end of the night when they get home. These people want to see me working 24 hours a day before I can even, to be able to afford not to be on SNAP. I'm sorry, but I just don't have the ability to do that. I don't have the ability, my kids and I escaped a domestic violence situation. We deserve better. We deserve to be able to rely that we will have health care and food stamps at the end of the day. And it's not people that are defrauding the system who are going to be kicked off, because they always find a way. They always find a way. This month is my recertification with SNAP, and I basically have to provide them my entire life. I have to give bank statements. I have to give mine, my wife's, and my kids' social security numbers. And the minute anything on my income changes, it gets reported to them before I can even report it to them. So it's the fact that these people think that they can just come in and say that we're defrauding the system. We don't have the ability to defraud the system. I am tracked in every single thing I do. Every single paycheck I get, they get a hold of it. Every single bit of money that comes into my life, they see it. I don't have the ability to hide anything from them. So they're not, all these cuts aren't going to be taking away from the people who already know how to fraud the system. It's going to be taken away from me and my kids. And for that, they can all fuck off. So that's it.
I love you. You know that.
I love you too. And keep doing it, Steve. I know it's hard on you. But make sure you're drinking your water and staying up with the people who feed you, okay?
I appreciate you, friend. You come back here anytime. Let's catch up, okay? I'll talk to you. Tell everybody I said hello. All right, we love you.
I will. Iris is right here.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, sorry, Coach. I didn't mean to do that. My apologies. I hate it when that happens. Joanne, thank you so very, very much for your amazing contribution on Venmo, for your $100. That's incredible. Thank you for not coddling the Nazis. I appreciate you saying that. It's very kind of you. This is not supposed to be a controversial take. I'm not going to coddle you. I'm not. I really do not care. I do not care if you claim to be on the left. I don't give a fuck. I don't care if you claim to be a progressive. If you have an expectation that people who are out there fighting against what we're seeing are going to reach across the table, then you're just as bad as everybody else. Don't give a fuck. This is not a place. Again, buried in my graphic, it says fuck your feelings. It's exactly right. Fuck your feelings. I am fucking done with entitled fucking leftists. I am sick and tired of the fucking kumbaya moments. You can miss me with your fucking bullshit. I am not interested at all. Don't give a shit. Don't care. Won't ever. Don't give a shit. Hello, Joshua. How are you today? Joshua, are you there? You're muted. Joshua, you're on mute. Kipper going once. Joshua going twice. Joshua, you're done. You can't come into the live and just be muted, my guy. I know Kipper's angry. Hey, buddy, how are you?
Going on, brother? Look, I just got in on the tail end of you having that conversation with that lady, and the way you reacted, I'm right with you. I think you know that I do this almost daily, and I have taken a step back for the past, I want to say, 2 weeks to protect my peace. And yesterday, I just came from the Social Security Disability office to see their doctor to see if I could still stay on my benefits. And I guess they must forgot what was in my record. And when I got there, my blood pressure was like 220 over 188.
Jesus, dude.
And I keep trying to express to people that with my condition and the things that I deal with and the stress is literally messing me up. And so I'm with you, Steve. Talking to these individuals daily it has been more evident that the thinking that that young lady had, I used to have, is like I felt like we need more people in our corner because it's power in numbers, so we can fight. But these people aren't interested in our rights. They're not interested in our benefit. They're not interested in anything they claim they value. What they are interested in, though, is owning the libs, seeing people get hurt, because if they didn't, they wouldn't have voted for Donald Trump. So I'm with you, bro. Yep. And I love you, man.
Love you too, buddy.
You're a stronger man than I am to keep doing this daily. And if I can't say this because I know it's hard for you to accept your flowers, but dude, you're doing, and I'm not a religious man anymore, but you are doing the Lord's work, bro, whether you believe that or not. So
I appreciate that, buddy.
Yep. I just want to let you know, man, I love you. Protect your peace, bro. Keep fighting a good fight. And no, we do not side with or hang out with or break bread with fucking Nazis. No, we don't.
We don't, buddy. I love you, bro. Thanks for saying that. I appreciate you, pal. Protect your peace, bro. Man. Be well.
Yep,
take care.
All right. Bye.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know. Thank you, Walt. I appreciate that. It shouldn't be controversial. Hey, friend, how are you?
Hi. Good.
Why should this be controversial, Victoria? Like, why should it be controversial?
It shouldn't be. And to be honest, Steve, it's interesting that you're having this conversation and we're having this because I've been really struggling with my campaign recently. because for the last month or so, I've been getting negative feedback about my campaign on things that should not be the topic of conversation. And the only thought that runs through my head is, if you think that me saying fuck one time in a speech is more important than what's going on with the right and what they're doing and openly supporting Nazis, I don't know how to help you. You are going to lose us the election if you do not build a bridge and get over it. Because at the end of the day, that should not be your focus. Am I talking about policy? Yes, I am. Am I talking about protecting your rights? Yes, I am. Am I talking about protecting Black, brown, and indigenous people and marginalized communities? Yes, I am. But you heard fuck, and that's all you focused on. Or the most recent one has been my personal story, which I use as part of my stump speech. And I tried to remove it from my stump speech, but it grounds, especially with what's going on in this country and abortion rights. And yet I'm being met by people who are like, don't tell your story. Don't tell your story. You're just kowtowing to Republicans. No, I'm not. I'm talking about a situation where when I experienced it was legal, so I had choices and options, and now women don't. And I physically will not and cannot get pregnant now because I can't trust that in my state I will get the best health care I need, and that I'll be even to leave the state if I need medical attention, or the country.
Can you drive for a second? I got to take a quick break. I'll be right back. Thank you.
I got you. So, like, this is part of the problem. We have a purity culture problem on the left where we are trying to, candidates and representatives are trying to walk the line of appealing not only to progressives and leftists, while also appealing to moderates. And the problem with the leftists and the moderates is they're demanding that we are one way or the other. And consequently, we're in a two-party system, guys. We have to be able to understand that voting is public transportation. It should not be that I, the candidate, have to figure out how to navigate this and worry that if I talk to working class issues, that we're going to have this issue. And this is a fundamental problem within the party. I've always understood as someone voting, I've always understood that it is public transportation. I've always been more progressive, a democratic socialist, if you will. And what I learned at a young age is the Democratic Party wasn't perfect, but it was the closest in the party system that we have that is set up to get to where I was going. So I voted with them consistently. I did not criticize because I knew they weren't going to be a perfect match for me as someone who was further left than the average Democrat. And now what we are dealing with is we are seeing this surge of progressivism within the Democratic Party, but status quo Democrats are part of the problem because we don't have enough of state and local engagement with voters. I'm going to say something wild here, but if you want to see change within the Democratic Party and see better policies and better responses from candidates, you're going to have to get involved. You're going to have to get involved at a state and local level so that progressives can get more support. If you want to see more progressive policies, if you want to see the Democratic Party have a little bit more of a backbone, you're going to have to do that. As well as you are going to have to accept that they're not going to do it the way that you might feel good. But if your fee-fees are making you feel like that somehow we should break bread with Nazis, I don't know how. I don't know how to help you.
Exactly. Dr. Emmy, thank you for your patience. What's on your mind today? And welcome.
Oh, good morning. It's still good morning. Well, I have struggled with having to deal with how this country has navigated away from human rights. And what I mean by human rights is not only voting, it's not only, access to things, it's just basic human rights to live, to be able to attain the same services and the same programs that everyone else has to be able to prosper and have a future in this country. I mean, I'm old enough to know that we have swayed many times on many issues, but this is by far the most profound insult that I have seen in my lifetime. The most profound.
Yeah, I mean, we discuss this a lot. You know, why does human rights have to be controversial?
It should not.
You know, for those of exactly, and that's why I can get Victoria and I are friends, and she knows I can get a little bit spicy at times. But if I think about that, I'm getting spicy because I'm defending human rights. I mean, how sad is that we have to do this? And somebody I think Anachronista said this in the chat. If there are 9 people, if there are 9 Nazis at a table and you sit down, there are 10 Nazis at the table, and so on and so forth. And we want change in our country, and we need to be demanding it. And I have no time to coddle people on the left who are just like, yeah, well, we got to make. That's the problem when you have such. And Obi says it very, very well. The left is a big tent. I get it. And a big tent means lots of voices. A big tent means lots of voices. Somebody's got some background noise going on. I'm not sure who that is. Is that you, Victoria? Maybe. Yeah. Maybe phoning. Yep. Sorry. When you have that many people under the tent, that means everybody wants to have a voice, which can be good. Not when you're trying to win elections. If the Democratic Party for so long has been looking for perfection, if you continue to look for perfection, you're going to miss the good. There's no such thing as a perfect candidate. And I'm sorry if your issue doesn't get talked about enough. I don't fucking care. Stop being so goddamn selfish. Understand what's at stake. Entitled leftists that didn't show up in the last election because they didn't like Kamala Harris's stance on Israel, fuck you. Get on the fucking train and get the fuck out. You're partly responsible for what we're at right now.
Absolutely.
Period.
Absolutely. And and I think that accountability doesn't go one way. The accountability has to be on the fact that, and I like I said, I'm old enough to see the transitions of the generations. I mean, I remember, growing up in the civil rights, fights where many people literally were unalived because of those marches and those protests and those very assertive movements that we did back then, that created what we have today. And we're slowly removing those safety programs that makes this country so strong. And I don't know where we can do better in terms of educating the generation that is coming into adulthood, that they have the voting power to make those changes. And I think that doing it at the ground level requires a lot of footwork. I mean, we're talking about a lot of individuals that are able and capable of messaging out the topics that we really want to discuss and what the goals are. And I'm a woman, and I've been a healthcare professional for many years, for like 35 years. And my specialty is in women's health. And I honestly can't believe that the essential care that women should be receiving are being diminished to the point that it's so dangerous. It's dangerous.
Dr. Emmy, thank you for jumping in today. I appreciate your perspective, and thank you for the work that you do in work of an unexpected angel, providing health resources, especially for women in need. I appreciate you being here, friend. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. You got it. Have a good day.
You too.
Okay. So again, unapologetic. Listen, this is not a safe space. Okay. This is not a safe space for people who are on the left, because you got some fucking work to do. I say this a lot. Democracy is not a spectator sport. You got to be involved. Okay. I am not going to coddle you. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to hold your fucking hand. I'm not. I expect you to show up. I demand that you show up and fight for rights. I demand that you run for public office if you haven't already. I demand that you volunteer in your community. I demand that you hold your elected officials accountable. I demand that you say, I'm not going to sit down with a fucking Nazi. That is the least that we can do. Again, if there's 9 Nazis at a table and you sit down with them in an effort to break bread, then there's 10 fucking Nazis at the fucking table. I am not going to coddle you. I'm not going to do it. I am done. We don't have enough time for that. I'm going to be 58 inside of a month. I don't have a lot of time left. I've got things that we need to get fucking done. And it's not about coddling people on the fucking left because they think that we should reach across the table and break bread. Fuck that bullshit. Not going to find it here. Not going to find it.
And the thing is, Steve, we've been playing the let's break bread, let's find the middle ground for years, for decades.
Exactly.
The two parties are not the same. Is the Democratic Party flawed? Absolutely. I did not realize how much work needed to go into the Democratic Party. But the sad part of it is when I start talking about it, voters don't want to take any accountability in their lack of voter engagement. They don't want to take any accountability in their lack of civic and community engagement. So how do you fix a problem? Because we are unfortunately in a two-party system. And you have to get involved if you want to see change. Do I want to see a third party? Absolutely I do. I want to see a multi-party system. I want to get rid of the Electoral College. But at this moment, we have two parties, and one is in an abyss trying to drag us down to their little fascist utopia that looks like the Hunger Games. The other side is holding on to power between progressives who want to effect change and status quo corporate Democrats who have been bought out and are a product of lack of voter engagement. I'm not saying any of them are not, good people, but they are a product of the world they're being. Voters need to get a little bit more realistic in how they interact with, I just saw someone say I make too much sense to be a politician. That's the point. That's the point. Sorry, that completely distracted me. But you're right. Like, it shouldn't be this way, but it is. It is. And look, I never understood why politicians smoked until I started running for office. And now I see myself as Ben Affleck outside that, just like, that's all I see myself as.
And this is kind of the point. I mean, I know in Obi and I agree on most things. I mean, he's at the anarchist level about burning the entire system down. And in my gut, I feel that way too, but I know under perfect conditions in our system that marginalized communities are always the ones that are going to suffer. When things are going well, women suffer. Children suffer. The poor people suffer. Members of the BIPOC community suffer. Members of LGBTQA community suffer. So when we burn it down, they're the ones in many cases who may not ever make it out alive, so to speak. So yes, I get it. Which is why I am so adamant about not breaking fucking bread with fucking Nazis. I'm not going to do it. I am not going to fucking do it.
As someone with World War II trauma, I'm good. I will never. And that's okay. I recognize that my bias is there. But the fact that I have to say, do we have to define who is actually bad? Because Nazis are never good. Period. End of story.
They're never,
people who caucus
never good.
with them are not good people, because if you can't see the writing on the wall and the red flags, I can't help you.
Good morning, Hope. You had a question. Thanks for being here.
Yes, good morning, guys. I just want to say thank you guys for everything you're doing. I just started watching you a couple weeks ago. I'm 27.
Appreciate you.
I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, but I moved to Georgia with my mom in 2012. I moved to a mostly white MAGA community. That was the beginning of, everything that was going on. But my question is, I saw firsthand the hate. I don't even think they're thinking about reasoning. I don't think they want to hear reasoning. I think the hate is fueling it, because I saw like teenagers, just being hateful. They didn't even know what was really going on. So I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not getting emotional. For me, it feels like I'm not even wanted in my own country. That's why I thank you guys for doing what you do, because sometimes I think just soon as they see my skin or they see that I'm a female, they're not even listening to what I have to say. They're not even trying to reason with me. So again, my question is, do you think the hate, we could ever overcome the hate on the other side? Because I'm not in any party. I'm gonna be honest, because I feel like I shouldn't claim something I didn't do enough research on.
Fair.
But I do see the hate and I feel it firsthand. I'm 27. I don't qualify for no benefits, and I'm not rich. I still struggle. So the fact that they're saying people who really need it, they don't care. I feel like they don't even care. It's just hate. And thank you, Victoria, because my first question was going to be, how can I help? But voting and getting more involved is I guess what I have to do to start.
Yeah. And it's not easy. And where you are in Georgia, to speak to that, it's really hard doing this in these communities. But the reason I say getting involved is, and Steve gave me the beautiful words, activism is a muscle, and I give him all the flowers for that, because it is true. Once you get involved, it does get easier, and it gets easier to fight back. Because right now we are having to push back. I believe in 2026, it's going to be a reckoning. There is going to be a reckoning in 2026 with what is going on in our country. And the choice is clear. We have two parties, and one of them is in an abyss, and the other is it's limping along because of the issues they're having. So the idea is, let's fix this party, because we're going to have a reckoning, because the one in the abyss has got a serious problem, and the only way to fix that is a reckoning across the board. It's going to have to, and we have to hold them accountable for accepting Nazis at the table and accepting this type of behavior, because every single one of their voters is complicit in this. Matt, who came up here, he is complicit in this. He is complicit in this by not being able to see the difference. And I blame him for that. I blame any voter who's continuing the narrative for that. But the way to fix it is to get involved, because your community matters. And when you're involved in your community, you're more invested in your community, and you're more invested in your country. And it's actually more patriotic to be invested in your community and your country.
Let me address the question that you asked specifically, Hope, about the hate. So, I mean, full well, about the white supremacist tendencies of our country. About the systemic racism, and it's nothing I can tell you that you don't already know, that you don't already live every single day. Sadly, I don't think that's ever going to go away. I think what Trump and Trumpism has done is it's just exposed the underbelly. It's like flipped it over so that everybody can see it. And now blatant racists, homophobes, bigots, transphobes, et cetera, are out loud and proud. So the only thing that I can hope for is that if we overwhelm the next election and we elect progressives and we at least put the country in neutral. I'm not going to say we can go forward, but put it in neutral, because right now it's going backwards. Then maybe some of those same people will go back into the deep, dark recesses of their cult that they lived in before.
Yeah.
I wish I could say it's not going to exist, but racists are always going to be racists. Bigots are always going to be bigots, et cetera, et cetera.
I do think that this is good, though, because I always thought, like, the people who was in segregation, and they didn't just disappear. They raised children, their grandchildren, they have their stances. So I think it's good that we need to see that we're not moving as fast as we were thinking when it comes to the racism and bigotry and all of that. It's still right here. So, yeah,
correct.
I guess it's one step at a time.
Well, I appreciate you being here, Hope. I just followed you. Please come back.
Thanks
for following us. I appreciate you. Have a good day. Be safe out there. Listen. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Want to say something?
No, it's just I know. I think what Hope is speaking to, and speaking to the anger, and speaking to the unkindness and the cruelty is the point. And she's right. Segregation. Those people didn't go anywhere. They just assimilated into the society, and they passed down their shit takes on human rights and human decency to their children. And that continued and continued and continued. It never stopped. So for the white people in the chat, start deconstructing, specifically white leftists and progressives. You need to deconstruct to understand what is happening in our country, because the only way we're going to make change is deconstructing. Because once you deconstruct, you'll deconstruct everything and you'll understand how the system is functioning.
Correct. Real life. How are you, friend?
Hey there. I'm good. Can you hear me?
We got you. Yes.
All right. Well, I just, two things. First, I want to say I've been watching you from, I think, almost your beginnings. And during that time, I used to be upset that you were so kind and complacent and not complacent, but trying to have conversations with these people. And over time, I've watched you come to a point even beyond where I was. And you brought me along with you, no sitting at the table. Well, God, no, I've kicked so many people out of my life. But the other thing is, back in May, you and I spoke when you were asking people what they were doing to help. And I told you that I was going to Vienna for 3 weeks to study at the UN Office of Drugs and Crime. It was life-changing. Being in Vienna was a place where I could breathe. They have a lot of issues with their past Nazi history, but I believe they're working to handle it. But to eat healthier food, to drink soda that had less sugar, to live in a more, what seems free, I could breathe. And then when I came back, I've had a very hard reentry. But at the UN, what I learned is that they provide documents, pamphlets on almost every issue imaginable. And, we studied from most of these people. And what I learned, I think what the entire cohort of 60 learned, is that the answers are all written down and they're all the same. In every book, you have to feed your population, you have to educate them, you have to give them health care. And it would end so many problems that we have. And to watch other countries not be perfect, but to do it is great. But then coming home to a place and watching that all crumble is somewhat terrifying. And so I'm finding the way you're speaking to be very true, because I'm doing law and international criminal justice, and I might be trying to get the fuck out of here.
Well, I get that, Real. I appreciate you saying that. I must admit it's been a bit of a journey for me in this space. I started this with doing debates, and I made a decision. I remember talking to Victoria about this a while back, and I'm just like, in my mod team, it's not worth it for me. First of all, as somebody who was at the debate club in high school and college, these aren't debates. A debate would be moderated. This is just yelling and screaming, and it doesn't do anything for anybody, except I know some creators, everybody teaches own. Some creators still want to do it. I'm just not going to do it. Like I'm not afraid to talk to anybody, and I don't do an audit of people who request in the box. I just bring people up. Oftentimes I'll bring people up who I've never spoken to before, and you never know what you're going to get. My point is, the evolution for me is realizing that there's no purity, that people on the left think that they're pure, and I'm so fucking tired of that nonsense. This is a fight for humanity. And if you're not going to get on board, I don't care what political affiliation you have, I'm going to call your shit out. I am going to call your shit out. And I wish more people were willing to do that. And if anybody has ever learned anything from me, I hope it's that you be careful who you think that you're aligning with. Just because somebody's got a bumper sticker on their car, or they might fly a pride flag, or they might say all the right things. When you really start to unpack shit, if they're going to sit down at a table with a bunch of Nazis in an attempt to try to break bread, nope.
Yeah, or simply to keep peace, or to keep their mouth shut because it's uncomfortable. I have come to say, you're lying. Here's the facts. And I'm done. I walk away. You're not worth my time.
Exactly.
And I think isolation is the tough part. Yes, I know. Bye. Next time. I'll talk to you later.
I appreciate you very much, and thanks for checking back in, and thank you for being a loyal follower for this amount of time. I appreciate you, friend. Thanks a lot for being here. Take care. Okay. Final thoughts, Victoria, and I'm going to wrap. Did you get a phone call? You're muted. Okay. See, here's the thing. Sabi and Auntie, Sabian Lee, you say, hey, what's the definition of a woman? See, the problem is, Sabian, people on the left, we don't worry about definitions. We care about character. We care about human rights and values. So what the fuck do you stand for? Just saying. Victoria, are you still there? All right. So listen, I will always have these conversations. I'm going to be straight with y'all. If you come here, if you literally come here, like I said, expecting this to just be a coddling environment for everybody on the left just because you voted against Trump, this isn't the space for you. This isn't. I want people. I'm not feeling very zen right now, but thanks for asking, Rainey. I want people who understand that we can hold ourselves accountable, that we have a higher standard that we should be living under. There should be no debate about human rights. None. It should not be controversial. It should not be this semantic argument. Well, no. You are either all in or you're all out. I don't have time for moderates. I'm done. I'm so fucking done with the typical fucking script. And if I can tell you right now that if Gavin Newsom, Kathy Hochul, and JB Pritzker do not follow through on their demands for redistricting, then that's it. Game's over. Because it literally fits right into the narrative from the right. The Democrats are feckless and cowards. And a lot of them are. Status quo Democrats, pathetic. I'm done. I'm tired of moderates. I'm done. I'm a pragmatic progressive. I understand what it's going to take to win an election. And therefore, if there's a moderate Democrat as a nominee for the Democratic Party in 2028, they will get my vote. They will get my vote because I understand what's at stake. I know what's going to be necessary. So I want people like Victoria and Emma and other progressives in office so that we can challenge conformity. We can say, this is not acceptable. I do not want bits and fucking pieces. I do not want table scraps. I want universal fucking health care. I want to overfund public education. I want women's rights to their bodies codified into fucking law. I want marginalized communities protected. I want the Voting Rights Act codified. I want the John Lewis Voting Rights Act codified. I want protections for marginalized communities codified. I'm sick and tired of little bites of the fucking apple. Get on board or get the fuck out of the way. Final thoughts, Victoria? Okay, I think she's probably busy. Sorry, I didn't mean to kick you. Seriously, this is not safe space. This is not let's put our hands together and sing in a circle. No, I'm done. Too much to fucking do. We're gonna raid. Let's see. Let's raid Brett, guys. We haven't raided Brett in a while. Let's go say. Speaking of somebody who's standing for shit, go say hi to Brett Cross. He's our friend. He's our brother. We love him. We care about shit. We care about getting things done. We care about protecting kids in schools. We care about making sure people are fucking fed. That people are fed. We're talking about food. Food. And people on the left want to break bread with Nazis? No thanks. I love you all. Guys are the smartest chat on TikTok. I've got the best mod team in the business. We'll see you tomorrow morning here, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Don't forget, please subscribe over to our YouTube channel. And we're going to go